Sports app.
You can also watch the show on YouTube at Sacktown Sports 1140. Hear the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Drake.
Baseball, man, you never know. Drapes, you see what the A's are doing today?
There is a old saying in Boston, Whitey. When a team wins, cue the duck boats. A's on top. What is it, still 11-1? 11-1 and threatening here in the bottom of the fifth. Cue the duck boats, baby.
Yeah,
Cue the duck boats.
Was it 20-21 on the verge of having their worst stretch since 1943?
World War II.
Yeah. Maybe even goes back further than that. But I don't think that's going to happen. 11
hold up now. See, there's still a lot of time left.
Oh, no,
in
they're
this
not
game.
going to. They're winning 11.
All right. Bullpen, struggling lately.
Plus, they're, kind of due.
And the ballpark, I can see a 5 or 6 run top of the 6 here for me.
I could see them winning 13-8, but
all right, but they're going to win. They got to win this one, right?
I think they're going to win.
If they lose this is rock bottom.
Yeah, I think then they just wave the white flag.
Right,
we forfeit the rest of the way. And the Giants are winning today as well. Afternoon baseball going on in Northern California. Okay. But who cares about that, Drace? We got NBA basketball tonight. The finals tipping off. Finally.
You know how big of a day this is, Whitey? I've been having some issues with my living room TV. For about 6 months now.
Oh, that's not good.
And I've been trying to troubleshoot it. I've been changing out the cable box, the Xfinity box. My issue is when I turn on the TV, the picture comes on, but the sound doesn't. And so then I got to unplug it, reboot it.
Yeah.
And I've done that for 6 months. I've changed out the box and everything.
Did you call somebody on that and then they walk you through that?
Finally today, I said, got to have it ready for game 1 of the finals. The problem is, though, you can't just call somebody anymore. You got to go through the app. And so I'm texting with this guy for an hour. And he says, I think we need to send a technician out. I said, that's what I called for. Like, that's what.
Right.
But fortunately, the technician happened to be in my neighborhood. 20 minutes later, bam, he came in. Your boy is set. I'm ready for tonight.
I was
TV
afraid
is up.
This was going to end in an unhappy or at least uncertain place.
Dude,
that's great news.
I'm in a good spirits right now.
Good.
Man. No, nothing going to get me down.
This will make you feel good too, I think.
Yeah, what you got?
Came in today and there's a gentleman and he had a dolly and had a probably from Alsco or something uniform on. He's working.
Yeah.
Doesn't work here, but he's working and he's pushing it through the parking lot and he presses the button so the gate opens up and he looks over at me and I just thought, you don't usually see guys like that in the parking lot. So I just said, hey, and he said, hey, and I said, do you need any help? And he looked at me and he kind of had a smile on his face. He goes, hey, you're Whitey, aren't you? I listen to you guys every day. Tell Drapes. I said, hey, it's Victor. So
our guy Victor. Okay.
Yeah.
So he checks us out. I can't tell you how many people, delivery drivers, Uber drivers, just people who are in their car all day, they listen to the show. And, my boy Casey that picked me up from the airport, the Uber driver that time, shout out to him. I know he's listening. And so, yeah, man, I love it when people say that, because a lot of times, and you're a radio veteran, Whitey, you've been around for a while. But for me, I'm like, am I speaking into, just some thin air or some vacuum that nobody is actually listening? But even if they're not on the YouTube or the text line or they don't call in, they're still out there listening.
Yep.
So,
And we appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're getting ready for the NBA finals tonight. There's going to be people here and there complaining about the ratings if they're down. I don't really care, but it's interesting, Drapes, looking back on how far the NBA has come. And I know I'm going back a long ways here, but you go back to 1977. For some, I know I wasn't born then.
That was a tough year for my Sixers.
It was. They lost to
Bill Walton and the Blazers.
Yes. So this is the anniversary of the last game. It was Game 6, and Portland won that Game 6 in Philadelphia. I was reading about it today, and I found out the game was originally supposed to be on 1:30 Eastern.
A.M.?
No, in the afternoon.
On
Sunday,
afternoon, okay.
Which means 10:30 Pacific. And the NBA said, nope, we're not doing it. CBS had it scheduled for that so that they could show the Kemper Open. And they're like,
golf Kemper Open. Yes, I remember that.
And the NBA said, no, they refused to do it. So they showed the game, but then they cut away from the trophy presentation to show golf.
Unbelievable.
It shows you how far the NBA
has come. I mean, I'm watching ESPN. They got NBA Today that they usually do for an hour. Well, today it was countdown to the finals. It wasn't even NBA Today. It was 2 hours countdown to the finals. To your point, it used to be on tape delay and late at night and all this and everything. NBA has come a long way, man. A long way.
Yeah. And there's an upside to having two new teams in the finals. And I know a lot of people will say, perhaps rightly so, that without big market teams in the finals, the ratings will be down. Maybe it'll be dull. I don't think it'll be dull. But I think there's some upside, Drapes, for the league to have perhaps the first chapter of Oklahoma City's dynasty.
Right.
We don't know, but there is some upside. And Tyrese Halliburton, you got obviously two brilliant young stars that everyone's drawn to. This could be a good thing to have. You can't have Steph and LeBron every year.
Well,
it's not gonna happen.
You know what the problem is, though, Whitey, with fans, viewers, society, social media. How many years have we been told ISO ball, star basketball, watching LeBron pound it, we need some new blood out there. And now you have true team basketball with both these teams.
Great point.
Where all five guys are touching it.
Right.
Assists are high. They play both ends of the floor. This is what people have been clamoring for. And now we get it. Now it's like, there's no star power. It's like, what do you want? And I do believe you got the reigning MVP.
Yes.
You got the MVP of the league on center stage, and you got one of the most exciting players in Tyrese. I think it's going to be a fantastic match.
I know that the networks, in terms of the ratings, which people make too much of, they benefit from having a big market because then you've got more people watching, right? Because the bigger the market, the more people in there, more people that are glued to the finals, the game. So I know they lose something there when you got two smaller markets playing. I get that. But why do you think San Antonio never drew better? San Antonio played great basketball, right? If you're a basketball fan, it's like, oh my goodness. But they were never very popular in terms of the ratings.
Because they didn't have the swag. It was the era of Iverson, Shaq,
and they had
Kobe. Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Whose nickname, the big fundamental. Who likes fundamentals? People hate fundamental basketball, And so it just never and I think they liked it that way, talking San Antonio. I believe a Tony Parker has some personality, a Manu Ginobili, a Greg Popovich. But I think they embrace that role of we're just going to put our head down, play excellent team basketball, and beat you. We don't need to be LeBron and all the glitz and glamour, the Miami Heat with the Heatles and all that. We're just a solid, very good basketball team, and I think they embrace that.
What do you think of the whole notion of, we've touched on this, of course, is the league better when you have dynasty going, the same team every year? Or this is, as you pointed out, we're going to have the different champion for the 7th consecutive year. Is that good? Is that favorable? Maybe it's neither here nor there. Some would say, you need not just the big markets, but the big brands in the finals.
Right. You know what I think you need, though, Whitey, is who's the villain in the NBA right now? You need sort of a villain, if you will. I look back at LeBron and his greatness. When he turned villain going to Miami, you had it galvanized a country, really. You look at Steph Curry and the Warriors. Once they started winning a few, people started turning against them. Like, we need to knock them off. And so I do think, if you're Adam Silver, this is what you want, 7 different champions in 7 years or whatever it is. But in terms of a media aspect, sports talk radio, I do think dynasties are good. That's how we remember basketball. We've done this exercise. We don't remember the Bullets of the late 70s or the Sonics of the late 70s, but we remember the Lakers dynasties, the Celtics dynasties, the Bulls dynasties, the Warriors. That's what we don't remember, the one and done teams.
There's also the fact that some people are going to complain no matter what. I remember when we had historically the Cavs and the Warriors. Well, those were 4 years in a row, and there were some people complaining about that, right? It's like, we need different teams. Then you get different teams. We need the same teams.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that Cavs Warriors, right. I actually look forward to Cavs Warriors. The only issue I had with that is Cleveland most of the time didn't stand a chance.
Right.
Like the LeBron factor, the years when Kyrie was hurt, Kevin Love was hurt, like those were so anticlimactic, but LeBron, Steph, now Shea, Tyrese, it doesn't have the same cachet, but when you watch the actual basketball, I think it's going to be a chess match between these two teams.
LeBron said that's what made him the greatest. He said that's what made me the greatest player of all time is that 2016 coming from
that comeback. Had never been done in NBA Finals history. I don't think that. No, I don't think that put him over the top. Just another thing that Jordan had
Kyrie helped
done
by making that shot.
Yeah. Kyrie helped, and I was watching ESPN earlier. They talked about Big Perk had his top 5 NBA Finals performances. That series, LeBron averaged 29, 10, and 9. Fantastic numbers. But the series he lost, when Kyrie and Kevin Love, when he averaged like 40, almost won the MVP and everything, even on a losing team, that was like iconic in losing, So even though they came back 3-1, I didn't think he had like the best series he's ever had.
Hope it's a great series. Not sure it's going to be in terms of length, but we'll talk more about that. Okay. And we'll find out. I mean, you don't think it's going to go very far, do you?
6. I got 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Up next, the more Jake Laravia talks, the more nervous I get about keeping.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not encouraged. Okay. Okay.
We'll talk about it next on Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers, plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us, plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Congratulations are in order for Domantas Sabonis and his family, Drapes. He's got another member of the family team.
What, he got a third one or what?
Kings forward has welcomed his 3rd baby with wife Shoshana. Let's see, their new baby boy joins big sister 11 Rose, 22 months, and brother Tiger. So I don't have the name yet, but maybe they don't have the name yet. But Domantas Sabonis,
okay,
and Shoshana with a new member of the team.
I didn't know that. That's 3 in 3 years for Domas. And
triple double.
So is this was it a boy?
It says here it is a boy, new baby boy.
Wow! Shout out to him, man. Shout out. I was talking to somebody about Domas last night, man. And I know people are talking about trade rumors and everything. I still got to give him his flowers, Whitey, because he's the only player, since coming to Sacramento. Marcus Smart gave me something back in Boston, but he's the only player every Christmas gives out a gift. A couple years ago, it was a bottle of wine from his collection. Mm-hmm. This past year, it was some olive oil that him and his wife put out. And so shout out to him and Shoshana.
Yeah.
They do it right, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And congratulations. And I still don't know exactly where the trade talk started. Again, I mean,
right.
I can see how, well, if he wants out, maybe they'd have to trade him, but it's gotten out of control.
There's nothing of substance. There's no source. There's not. It's just, and now people are throwing out trade scenarios and everything. Where did this come from?
Yeah.
I'm over it, Whitey. I'm over it.
I'm over it. How about Jake Laravia? We continue to speculate over whether he will stay or whether he will go. He did an interview with Michael Scotto, friend of the show, on Hoops Hype. It's interesting. We both read it. You're more encouraged about him staying than you were? I am less encouraged.
I don't know about more encouraged. I'm not less encouraged. I'm where I was before. I'm where I was before reading today's article.
He definitely continues to say wonderful things about Doug Christie, especially, and the team and his teammates, which is great. But he was asked, what are you looking for in free agency? The biggest thing he said, like, scratch the money part. I want what everyone else wants, which is being on a team that's really competing for a championship or a young up-and-coming team that's ready to win. That's great. I just don't think the Kings are either one of those teams, if that's really what matters to them.
But I would imagine 80% of the league wants that, Whitey. Not everybody can play for OKC or Detroit or somebody like that. And so I'm not like you pull a bunch of players, especially in a situation that Jake is in. That's what they're all looking for. Mm-hmm. He's not looking for a bigger role to be the man of a team. He's looking to play for meaningful basketball. But then I'll also go to the article when he was asked, do you think Doug Christie returning to Sacramento will impact your free agency? He said, yes, for sure. I loved him being the interim coach. I even told him that in the interview that if you're not hired, odds are I'm probably not going to resign Sacramento. Mm-hmm. So if Doug wouldn't have got the job, it was good as gone for Jake Laravia. But Doug did get the job. So that's why I'm encouraged, based on that. And we hadn't heard that before. And so I didn't, when I found out the news, I congratulated him. I'd love to play for Doug Christie.
Yes.
Now, I know what you did. I see.
You know what I did?
I see what you're doing. Because you know what you're doing, Whitey? You're like reading a review on TripAdvisor. It's 1 billion positive reviews, but you found that one negative review, and you're like,
that's a pretty big negative.
I'm done.
That's a pretty big negative. What do you want as a free agent? I want these things that the Kings don't have. That's a pretty big negative, potentially.
That is. But, and Malik Monk probably wanted the same thing, and we thought the Malik Monk market was going to be strong. And ultimately, he chose to come back to Sacramento, what many people think was for a lesser value deal. The issue for the Kings, to me, it's not about roster. It's not about Doug Christie. It's about the money. If the money is equal, let's say, now, of course, he's OKC, some of the better teams, yes. But I think, let's say Charlotte offered him the same deal as Sacramento. He's coming back to Sac. I think we're not up against the winning aspect. We're up against the financial aspect.
Well, that's a great point. And you read it. He was asked, are you open to going anywhere else in free agency? By the way, that's what the question was to him. So don't accuse me.
No.
The question is, are you open to going anywhere else in free agency? He says, yeah, options are definitely open.
Yeah.
It's not like I have my mind set up on one place. I've seen plenty of cases where it's hard to turn down money at the end of the day. That's a business.
And here's the thing. Jake's 23 years old. He's not getting the max or the super max. It's on him, and I would advise him to get the bag while you can, because he probably has 2 good contracts left in his career. He'll do this one 4 to 5 years, 4-year deal. He'll probably do another one 4 years. That'll take him to 31 years old. By that time, he's starting to be on the back end and everything like that. So if I'm advising Jake from a financial, if I'm his agent, I'm not saying go to the highest bidder, but money is definitely close to the top of my considerations.
Do you think it would be difficult if you're Scott Perry to figure out where to start on all this? And I asked him about that when we met with him, when he met with the media, and he didn't really answer. He said, it's a good question. He didn't really answer. But, there's so many things you have to address. But some things depend on what else happens. I mean, where do you start if you're him right now?
If you're Scott Perry?
Yeah.
Well, doing what he's doing. He's talking to everybody. He's holding meetings with everyone.
Yeah.
And when I look at it, if I'm Scott Perry, I'm gauging, first of all, I'm talking to Domas. Do you want to be a part of this? Because we've heard all the rumblings and everything. He wants to get some clarity, if you will. If I'm Scott, I don't even know clarity yet. Like, it's hard for me, Scott Perry, to give you clarity because I'm not sure yet.
Don't you think he might want to look at everything before he even talks to Domas?
Yeah. He might already have his mind made up, Does he talk to DeMar DeRozan? Honestly, if I'm Scott Perry, you may have your mind made up regarding DeMar, but I would go to DeMar and be like, DeMar, what do you want? 36 years old, coming up year 17 of your career. What do you want? And if he says, I'm here, I'm in it, okay, then you consider that. But if he says, honestly, I'd rather play for a contender, then I'm making that happen for DeMar. So to me, in terms of personnel moves, that's probably where I start, figuring out the DeMar DeRozan situation. Because here's why, Whitey, and we've talked about this yesterday, as a matter of fact. If DeMar is on this team, then the kind of point guard you need is different than if DeMar is not on this team,
right?
I think.
So DeMar, Sabonis, then maybe from it sounds like Zach LaVine's just here.
Yeah, Zach's here. Zach's
then
here. Keegan Murray. Yeah.
And then after you can't even really think about talking to free agents, which you're not allowed to yet anyway.
Right.
So you know who else is on your team.
Right. Exactly. And are you talking to Keon Ellis? I mean, it is a team option. I think you kind of figure out what you're going to do with Keon in terms of, do you pick up the option at what it is? Do you extend him, and have him a bigger contract, maybe a bigger trade chip, if you will?
Now you could do that, right? You could pick up the option and then extend him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can do that. And so he has a lot of work to do, but I do still remain the belief that DeMar DeRozan is the first domino that has to drop, whether he stays or goes. That needs to be figured out.
Did you see what he posted today?
Yeah, I was thinking about trying to get a hold of his people and make sure he's doing okay. I guess I saw posted also June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, somebody said as well. And so I was thinking maybe of trying to reach out to DeMar and first of all, check in on him, see if he might want to come on the Drive Guys and talk, just off season.
Yeah.
What's going on.
Yeah. Forget about basketball. Hope he's feeling good and doing okay here.
Yeah. I saw that. I saw that.
Michael Scotto was actually on today with your guy, Alan Stiles.
Stiles, man, this guy.
Yeah. They had him on.
I'll tell you. The quickest way to get on radio, ladies and gentlemen, is put out a tweet. Put out a tweet. Somebody's going to call you up to have you come on the show. I'm just saying. Go ahead. What did he say?
And please correct me if I'm wrong. Kyle Ledbetter's in the other room. He pointed out, as we said yesterday, the story from Michael Scotto said, Tyus Jones is on the Kings' radar. He's among the point guards on the Kings' radar. But he also said there are other guys on the radar. And he said, I can't tell you who they are yet. I guess apparently there's a price point that the Kings have with Tyus Jones. Like, they're interested if they don't have to pay more than this amount. But again, getting back to the conversation we just had, how do you know that he's a fit for you if you're not sure what else you're doing? Maybe they have a clearer idea than we think as far as what the roster is going to look like this year.
See, that's why you're a pro right there. I'm glad you steered the conversation that way, because you saw the look on my face. I'm just like, price point, there's a list, but I can't tell you who's on the list. So that's not the conversation we're having right now. I agree. That's what we said just a second ago. Like, Tyus Jones would be a solid fit if you run it back, if DeMar is on it. If DeMar is gone, I think I need a higher quality point guard here. If you lose DeMar and you only replace him with Tyus Jones, I don't see how that makes us better. I don't think that has improved our basketball team. No offense to Tyus Jones. What you looking at? You got something on the chat there?
Vincent Ramirez says Scott Perry better be cooking something good. Kings need some huge swing moves.
Oh, he's looking for home runs, huh? Fireworks here in June. They got to do something, man, and of substance. But is Tyus Jones moving the needle, or is he this year's Jordan McLaughlin?
He's a starter, so he's
a little more. But
yeah, he's not. He's just kind of, all right, that settles it. It's like you're patching something up around the house. You call a contractor and make it look really good, or you can go to Ace Hardware. They're very helpful there, and you get something. You can patch it up. It's like, all right, that's good.
Yeah. He's like a Caesar salad or something. No, nobody gets super excited over a Caesar salad. It's just part of the meal. But it's a necessity. And you need that salad, the green stuff. So, that's what he is.
I do like the idea of bringing in a guy who's trying to prove something. But he would be trying to prove something so he can go somewhere else and get more money. Probably.
Right. I get, a chip on his shoulder or something like, we've seen that with Malik Beasley before, in Milwaukee and then Detroit, and we've seen it with Tim Hardaway Jr. We've seen it with guys, with something to prove. I just don't know Tyus Jones' ceiling right now. I think the Phoenix situation sort of damaged him a little bit in terms of the standing around the league. Last year this time, when the Suns signed him, they got their point guard. Yep. This is a perfect fit. Look out. It didn't work, Whitey. And so now it's kind of like, he may have to rehabilitate his image a little bit.
Speaking of the Suns, according to Shams, there are 4 to 6 teams interested in KD.
Ooh.
Who might they be? And speaking of big moves for the Kings, we've speculated about Zion. The Pelicans have came out with a strong statement on Zion. We'll share that with you when we come back to Sacktown Sports.
The Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter right to your email. Get your latest on the Sacramento Kings, Athletics, and Republic FC with the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit sacktownsports.com to join.
Big news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange, and millions like you are joining our news revolution. Newsmax is now the 4th highest rated news channel, just behind CNN. Reuters says we're one of the top news brands in America. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax for shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and more. So download our free Newsmax app on your smartphone or TV and start watching. President Trump says Newsmax is truly terrific. Get the free Newsmax app and check out Newsmax shares on the stock exchange. Go to newsmaxinvest.com. That's newsmaxinvest.com. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such an offer would be unlawful.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-859-6688. 800-859-6688. 800-859-6688.
The Hagen Oaks Cutting Edge Putter Fitting Studio offers you more technology, more choices, and more service. Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. With $30,000 worth of state-of-the-art technology ready for your fitting, Hagen Oaks will help you make your best putting stroke while finding the best putter design, shape, hosel, length, and loft for your game. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for more.
The Giant Summer Sale is here. Get giant savings on our giant selection only at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save during the Giant Summer Sale and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com. Your one-stop Honda shop.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-
of Las Vegas are thumping the Twins. Top 7 won out. The A's up 12-1. I mentioned that because, hey, wow, how about that? They've been struggling, and looks like things are going their way today. 2, sources tell me Kyle Draper is thinking about going out there, and soon.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of people. One of my friends, one guy I work with the Kings, Jeff Anderson. Shout out to Jeff. He's out there right now at the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I got to get out there.
Relax. Relax.
Second and third, Whitey. No, he came all the way.
2.
Dude, did you see how he was just jogging in the third at first?
Uh-huh.
I don't think he was planning on going home on that.
Relax, Drapes.
Oh, my God.
It's 12-2.
All right. Okay. All
It's
right.
12-2.
All right. You got me nervous, man. A rally got to start somewhere. But anyway, yeah. And the Kings got a suite out there. And, the company organization sent out an email. First of all, they got a suite for tomorrow. And then they have suites available in June and July also for employees.
Nice.
So I might head out there.
Yeah, you get the sunset out there, and you see the bridge, and got a real soft spot in my heart for that ballpark. It's not Major League, but it's a really nice place to be on a warm summer evening.
I mean, I definitely recommend going out there. As you know, I've been to now close to 20 games. I left early to come in to produce today, but if you got to make it out there at least once this season to form an opinion and enjoy yourself here in West Sacramento, take advantage of having Major League Baseball while it's in town.
Let me ask you this though, fellas, because
that was Ramsey, by the way.
Oh yeah, Ramsey. Ramsey got to introduce yourself. You can't just ain't no voice of God on this show, man. You got to introduce yourself. Let people know.
Jay's voice.
I know, but maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not in tune with baseball. Do you think the organization, the city, sports talk media has done a good job broadcasting the A's and telling people about the A's? I didn't know it was a day game today. Maybe that's because I'm not checking for it. But it just seems like maybe because we're not talking about the day-to-day wins and losses as much every day, it just seems like, are they here? Are they on the road? I don't know.
I think the A's outreach has been lacking.
Yeah.
And that some have made efforts.
Dude, they just did a pan of the crowd.
Yeah.
It looked pretty bad.
And Whitey, I agree with what you're saying as far as the outreach and what they're doing in terms of trying to let the masses know about it. But at the same time, Sacramento media isn't doing any justice to it anyways, because there's been some negative connotivity put behind it. Yeah. But just speaking for someone that's been out there on a regular basis, it's a good time. It's Major League Baseball. We have it here in our city. It's another professional sport. Enjoy it, because we don't know how long it may be here. Hopefully it'll be longer than what people expect, but take advantage of it while it's here.
It's similar to Major League Baseball.
Oh, Ramsey, I don't know if you've been hearing. This dude been railing on it here for the last few weeks, saying it hasn't worked. It's not Major League Baseball.
If Ramsey or anybody wants to enjoy it, that's great. You should enjoy it. You should, and I'm glad you do.
Let me ask, because you guys are kind of on different sides of this. What makes it a Major League experience,
a Major League facility? And besides just the specifics of Sacramento, the fact that the A's don't know where they're playing, where are we, when are we going to go to Vegas, are we ever going to Vegas? The A's are in limbo right now, the players, and they're not being treated fairly, which affects the product, in my opinion. And that's one of the things also that makes it's like Major League Baseball, but this is unlike any Major League Baseball I've seen.
And I can agree with what Whitey's saying in terms of them being in limbo and not knowing whether they're going to stay in Sacramento, go to Las Vegas, go to another city, what's going on. That I definitely agree. It's a different feeling. It's an odd feeling, but in my opinion, what makes it Major League Baseball are what we see on TV, the teams that come in, the athletes that we have a chance to see that we in Sacramento would never have a chance to see in our local area for however long this time frame may be. Hopefully it'll be longer than what we expected, but again, with it being in limbo, we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's I can't dispute that. Yeah. We have Major League Baseball players in Sacramento.
Do we got Shooty coming up next segment?
Yeah. Shooty Babbitt.
Yeah.
If he's going to talk, he might be busy. He's working, isn't he? He might be working.
He might be off today.
I didn't see him when I was out there earlier this afternoon. Yeah. So I don't believe he. I don't know if he's out there or not, but we can ask him when he comes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Twins score another run, Drapes.
Whitey, you know what it is? Back in April,
12-3.
Bro, April 24th, you're like, oh, look at the A's. Look at the standings. Since then, they haven't won a damn game. They won one game since then.
One game.
Now, this game, you're like, it's over. It's a wrap. They're going to win this. Since you said that, they've been outscored 2-0.
I think they got a big enough cushion,
All right.
even for them. We'll see. Bullpen has been a little spotty.
Yeah,
this
bullpen
year.
has been spotty.
Here's a deal on Zion Williamson. We've been talking about Zion. Is there any way the Kings would have interest in him? Should you have interest in him, given everything that's going on? Well, the allegations against him are not affecting the Pelicans' plans for his future with the organization. At least that's what they're telling us. We had Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars and Scott Perry, but they know each other very well.
Very well, yes.
I've had really good conversations with Zion. We've had lunch, dinner, watched playoff games together. We've done it all. I've had some real honest conversations with him, some real direct and honest conversations. We're going to go forward with Zion. He's going to continue to be a focal point here as we go forward. This was yesterday.
Yes.
Yes. And you also have Gail Benson, the owner of the Pelicans, asked about the lawsuit. You know, lawsuits are lawsuits. You really can't, you don't know. I mean, people can sue you for anything. There's no reason you can be innocent or not. It's just something that people do, unfortunately. So it sounds like they're standing by Zion.
Yeah, or they're acting like they are to try to, drive up his value a little bit. Or like you said, they're standing by him and they are going to build around Zion.
Yes.
Going forward. I don't think having him represent them at the draft lottery is, by happenstance, a coincidence. I honestly think they view him as the guy.
That's Joe Dumars said. That's one of the things he said. You're right. He said that's why we sent him out there.
Yeah. And, when I look at, who was their GM? Lawrence?
Griffin?
Griffin, David Griffin. Yeah. They got rid of David Griffin, bring in Joe Dumars. To me, it's sort of like, all right, it's a pivot from an organizational standpoint. This is going to be our guy, sort of like Utah's doing with Austin Ainge. The tanking, that's done with. This is a new day. This is who we're going to be. I feel like that's what the Pelicans are trying to do now. This is a new day. This is our guy. I mean, Zion's 25 years old, something like that?
It's amazing.
It seemed like he's been around forever, Whitey.
Mm-hmm.
24 years old Zion is. That's crazy. Keegan Murray's 24. Like, come on. And so I think, they're trying to repair their relationship with him by having him be part of the draft lottery. That's a signal to him. We believe in you. You're a big part of our future. So I don't expect to see him on the move, man.
I have to think for them to make these statements, they have already obviously looked into all this, and they're feeling pretty comfortable about Zion's side of the proceedings.
Right. Yeah. Or they've jumped to such quick to jump to a conclusion about this. They're going to have egg on their face if they haven't, he's our guy. We're building. And then the allegations.
You can't afford to do that given the seriousness of these allegations, right?
Exactly.
You can't just, no, we like him and he's our guy.
Exactly. I just typed in Zion Williamson and in Google just to, because I was looking up his age, and attorney Tony Busby declined to represent the woman accusing Zion. Now, Tony Busby is one of those guys. Usually they jump at high profile cases, to represent people. Like, the fact that he said, nope, I'm not helping this one. I'm not taking this one. Some gray area there. And so maybe, like you said, the Pelicans know, and they did their due diligence, and they feel like this guy's going to be cleared.
Mm-hmm. I hope that's true, just because I'm just glad that the things that were alleged that they didn't happen.
Yeah,
that's good that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
like you were saying, Drapes. Yeah, Tony Busby was mostly known for being part of the Deshaun Watson case as well.
Right. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So we'll keep an eye, obviously, on that situation. We'll get back to Kevin Durant. Yeah, Sham says 4 to 6 teams interested in KD. Who could they be? We'll circle back to that when we come back. How about those swinging A's, huh? Shooty Babbitt, A's analyst, NBC Sports California, former athletic and MLB scout, joins us for a look at what's going on with the A's in baseball next on Sacktown Sports.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-932-5858. That's 800-932-5858. 800-932-5858.
If there's one thing we know about dads, it's that they're not easy to shop for. Enter Kohl's. They've got everything from Nike golf gear to his favorite Levi's jeans. And you can save 20% on other finds like Flex Athleisure and Izod workwear. So if you're not sure what to get Dad for Father's Day, you know where to go. Shop Kohl's now. Select styles. Offer ends June 15th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons do not apply to Nike and Levi's. See store at Kohl's.com for details.
At Valley Strong Credit Union, we know that local businesses are the backbone of the Central Valley, investing in our neighborhoods, boosting the economy, making the Valley stronger. But when it comes to their finances, where can they turn? A big bank that just sees another number? That's not good enough. Valley businesses deserve Valley support for payroll, credit, cash flow, and everything in between. Valley Business is Valley Strong. Learn how our cash management services can support your business at valleystrong.com.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Locash, Vincent Mason, and Abriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra. Tickets are available now at CITPFest.com.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SacktownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for American Energy, and oh my goodness, I'm born and raised here. I know it gets hot, but my goodness, we're already seeing 100-degree days. Listen to me. You do not want your system to conk out in the middle of June or July or August with one of those big 100-degree stretches. You want to make sure you're good all summer long. And my friends at American Energy Heating and Air can do that with a $24.50 tune-up right now. That's half price. And if you need a new system, $3,500 off, up to $3,500 off in rebates for qualified systems. They've been around since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Call them right now, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Jingle Singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
It's been a long time, Drapes, since I've talked to our next guest. I think you guys have had him on since, I think you had him on one day, maybe while I wasn't here. Former Major League infielder, great scout. He saw me one time and he was looking, he was, hey, you look like you could play a little bit.
Really?
Like, yes.
He eyeballed that?
He was just being nice.
All right.
Because he's a very nice guy. A's analyst, NBC Sports California, Shooty Babbitt. How are you, Shooty?
Gentlemen, thank you for the kind welcoming. You're way too kind. You know, I got that R. Kelly in me when you start talking about still could play. My mind telling me, yeah. But that body just won't let me do it.
Shooty, we know the A's have struggled. They've been struggling. They're ahead today. I wanted to focus on something more positive than the recent stretch here to begin. You obviously being a scout, you've seen a lot of good players, bad players, all types of players come and go. Tell us about Jacob Wilson, how he compares to some of the outstanding shortstops you've seen in the early parts of their careers.
I would just say that he's the truth. You know, the bottom line, at the end of the day, in Major League Baseball, if you're not a pitcher, your hallmark is going to start with that bat. And he has some of the best bat-to-ball skills I've witnessed in a long time, and I've played against, I've scouted, I've analyzed. I've seen a little bit of every kind of swing and every kind of hitter. And Carlos Delgado was one of my favorites because he's one of those guys that could really catch the baseball, and he has such strong wrists and good hands. Even though they're different but unique, and I think all good hitters are unique. They can't be duplicated or replicated. They can only be appreciated. And when I see this young man, he's hard to pitch to. People are starting to try to pitch him inside, and most pitchers are incapable or afraid to pitch in there because damage typically results from trying to get in there and missing. And you're kind of pitching into his weakness because he's an inside-out swinger. He likes to open up the plate so he can utilize his hands and just serve you to death. And what he's doing is something that you don't see every day. I kind of put it down to when I saw Bobby Witt Jr. As a minor leaguer in AA, when I saw Ellie De La Cruz, when he's with Cincinnati in the minor leagues. It's just that special talent, that special gift, something you're born with, and you just don't see this. So we need to just watch it. The adjustments that's going to be made. I had told Chris Townsend in the beginning that this kid was going to lead the team in hits. I told someone, Carlos Ramirez, last week that he's going to be an all-star, and the accolades keep coming due to what he's doing on the field, man. So he is a special player.
Shooty, what's up, man? Kyle Draper here, man. Good to have you on.
Man,
What's up?
Here,
it's been too long, man.
The second cleanest man on TV.
I tell you what, we had a discussion, Shooty, the other day about what clothes do hosts have to wear, and I said, it depends on your analyst. If your analyst is coming in clean, you got to come in clean. So every time I work with Shooty, I knew I had to come in clean.
Nothing but respect, Kyle. Nothing but respect, bro. There are people that came before us that set precedents, and I've always respected those that have given us an opportunity. My main goal, not only being the best analyst I could be, but trying not to mess it up for the next guy. So all I'm trying to do is set an example for how blessed we are for being able to do what we do. We don't take no days off, because our mind is always working. But I appreciate you because you always come in there correct, and it don't even have to be stated. It's overstated when you come up in there, bro. So I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir, man. I'm happy to have you on. Let me ask you this. We know the squad is struggling. The A's are struggling. Lost 20 out of 21. How much of it is talent driven? How much of it is the drama surrounding the location of the franchise, you think?
I think it's a conglomeration of everything. I just don't think people really understand the magnitude and how difficult it is for a team in major sport, especially Major League Baseball, when there's 162 games and there's so much required mentally and physically. I mean, it's a grind, and I never want to make an excuse for a big league player because there is an expectation level. But I also understand the process, also understand the situation, because a lot of times situations are dictated by circumstances, and there's a lot there. But I will say this. I love the young crop of kids that we have. Getting the opportunity to play at the big league level a little early in their careers, and some of are handling it very admirably, if you will, and performing probably better than most people thought. And in the past, this has been an organization of late where it's the land of opportunity. So you're getting guys that are being come in here for audition, if you will, and if you don't show right away, the show will go on with another player, and that's what's happening. So trying to fit a major league operation in a minor league park with construction and upgrades within a 6-month period, I commend the effort by everyone involved, but it's pretty much impossible to do. So with that being said, there are a zillion guys sitting today listening or watching or have seen the game today that would have loved to be in the position that the guys that were running out there in those green and gold uniforms and just dreaming of what that would like to be. So you got to deal with it. You try to win today and handle tomorrow when it gets here. Today, the A's came through with a big win. They dropped head all over them boys. There was a lot of frustration and anger all over the place. So hey, man, that's the game. But I've been in it long enough to know that, bro, you can't get excited about a good month or a bad 2 weeks. It's a long season, man.
That's Shooty Babbitt. I wanted to ask you, Shooty, you have obviously a unique perspective on all this, having been a major league player. I want to ask you about Mark Kotsay. He's done such an amazing job. I watch him, and my heart goes out to him. You know better than most of us what he actually has to go through right now. Does Mark Kotsay deserve, I don't know, a medal or a statue or something for managing the team through all this chaos?
Well, you say managing the team, and I think when you say that, it's a little different just coming up, having a title and managing the players in which that you have on your roster. Unfortunately, and fortunately for players, you are getting an opportunity to develop at the major league level, improve yourself, and maybe we can project on you getting a little better in this area. We can tweak you there. And I'm old, I used to wear natural. Now, it's all the way to the skin, bro. It ain't coming back, just like my philosophy maybe in some parts of the game. So it is what it is. So he has a tough task of managing young men. It's also developing, which took place in the minor leagues. And in my humble opinion, and as long as I've been around and which I've seen and lived and watched, the experience in the minor leagues, the at-bats, the failure, the ability to adjust, work on it, not be in such a high-leverage situation where careers and livelihoods and everything else is on the line, it prepares you for the big stage. I tell people all the time, ain't no league bigger than the big leagues. They've been sent rockets up there, missiles, everything. They ain't said no baseball team is up there. So in my opinion, it don't get no bigger than this radio show today. It don't get no bigger than the game. And you expect the best from the players that are there. And Mark Kotsay's beard was a little brown and gray at the beginning of the year. Now he got a lot of gray and white up in there. So he making it look a lot easier than what it is. But yes, he should be commended because he was the type of player that played with passion. He played on the edge. He'd take you out in the left field. He'd take the extra base. He'd grind out at bats. He would do whatever it takes to win. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line is not how you won or how you lost, it's if you won. And he was a winning player. So there's so much that goes involved in preparing for a game, preparing players. There are a lot of more voices that involve. And you're not the holy grail of the voice, if you will, when it all comes down to, because there's more than one voice in the room, and that's in every organization. But Mark Kotsay has done a tremendous job of remaining positive, not being negative, throwing anybody off the bus. I think he learned a lot from Bob Melvin, who was one of the best player managers that I've gotten a chance to witness in a while, because no matter what, he always turned attention to himself and what the upside should be. So he's the perfect man for this job right now. There's so many uncertainties, so many moving parts. And each day these guys come out and they prepare and they compete. And I've never seen any quit in them. I've seen some frustration, but never any quit. And a lot of times that's a direct reflection of the manager.
And I was going to ask you about the players, Shooty. We talked about Jacob Wilson, Butler, Rooker, Soderstrom, 2 home runs today. From an individual player standpoint, I know the record isn't what anybody wants it to be, but how about the individual performances and the talent, the young talent we're seeing? And as a player, what's your advice to these guys navigating something through that nobody's ever faced before?
Learn your game, study your craft, build up resources. You look at OG hitters, they always have a little black book in their pocket. I know they've got computers and laptops and tablets and all that kind of stuff. But I think writing is remembering. And because you're going to see some of these guys, especially ones that are going to be around again, and you'll be a better player and they'll be a better pitcher. But today is the start of tomorrow. So you can't get frustrated because you have a job, you have a craft, you have ability, you have an impact skill, or you have a carrying tool, whatever allowed you to get to this level, just like the rest of the guys that you're going to be competing against. I mean, the physical part of it, the tools, I mean, man, there's a lot of great players that are sitting at home that couldn't figure out the task. If you've got to have some mental approach in this game or you get carved up. But you with grown men right now. So you got to take your game to a whole nother level. And a lot of times you need to get socked over the head a little bit to know that, I'm going to put my guard up and be ready next time somebody throw a blow at me, because I'm going to block it, then I'm going to drop one on them. So that's what it's all about right now, man. 3 out of 10, you're a Hall of Famer in this game. 2 out of 10, you're sitting up here talking about it like me. So one more hit, bro, and you and a hero. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Shooty, how do you keep all the losing from harming the development of the young players, especially the relievers and the young pitchers, when you're playing in a park now where the ball tends to fly at night?
You better deal with it.
Uh-huh.
If you keep the ball below the knees as a pitcher, you can't get shot up out the yard. When the air gets light and it get 100 degrees up in Sacramento, you can throw it up like a ping pong ball and it's going to blow up out of there. And you know that. So you, as the best in the world, I don't care what the game says about spin rate and all that kind of stuff with the ball do up in the zone. You miss and it's a pop-up, you shot up out of there. Pitch. You're not throwing, you're pitching. I'm looking for soft spots. I'm looking for bad swings. I'm looking for ground balls. And I'm trying to get hitters off balance so they can't elevate and shoot me up out of the yard. If you watched our game today, in a way that Kennard attacked our hitters early on before we started busting his head, where he missed, it was down in the zone. He was straightening them up, and he was seeking them at the bottom of the zone. But what happens with modern-day pitchers, because they are throwers or they don't get their legs in shape like they used to do in the day and run poles so they can go 6-7 innings, they get tired. And their legs get tired. And what happens when your legs get tired? You get the ball up. And what ends up happening, you know what happens. They turn into souvenirs. So the name of the game is keep the ball down on the ground and keep the ball in the ballpark. And that's going to be a theme in Sacramento. I don't care. I don't want to hear you crying about it. Okay, you are so blessed to be in the big leagues for what you may be capable of doing. Because if we knew exactly what you was going to do, none of the scouts would have a job. So there's somebody that believes in your craft and the authority and the wherewithal to be able to take it to the next level. It's a challenge, but you know what? It's a challenge standing the Fairfield Inn in Buffalo, Mississippi, waiting to see an A-ball game. But you know what? I'll be there when they say play ball because that's my job.
Shooty Babbitt.
Ooh, good stuff.
Thank you, Shooty. We appreciate it. We hope to talk to you again soon.
Man, please have me on again, man.
For sure. 100. You're going to be a regular,
all right,
Shooty.
Kyle, man.
Appreciate you,
Love
man.
you, man.
All right,
Keep
man.
up the
Love
great work, guys.
All right,
Thank
baby.
you, Shooty.
Take care.
Yeah, we got, 8th inning? And the A's are up 14-3.
All right, I'm feeling a little more confident now. I'm a little more confident. What they got? Bottom of the 8th they're going to? So I think it is. So, no, I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
I'm
bottom of the
feeling
8th,
good.
the A's
Yeah.
up 14-3.
All right.
I think they're good today. We come back with a look at Jake Laravia explaining why the Kings missed the playoffs. Why do you think they did? We'll hear what Jake thinks, what his theory is next on Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Alan Stiles. Injured at work? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, California's leading injury law firm. With over 40 lawyers throughout California, they've won over $500 million in settlements. Downtown LA Law Group will get you compensation for your work injury. You don't pay unless they win. That's right. You pay zero up front. Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222. Visit them at calldowntown.com.
At SMUD, we power local business with incentives on clean energy equipment, tools to manage electricity usage and save money, tailored solutions from dedicated strategic account advisors, and 50% lower rates than neighboring utilities, all while doing more for the planet with clean energy solutions, savings, reliability, personalized service, clean energy, helping local businesses thrive. That's our clean power promise. Learn more at smud.org.
The Giant Summer Sale is here. Get giant savings on our Giant selection only at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save during the Giant Summer Sale and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at folsomlakehonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop. Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. SubcontractorsUnited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by the league. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Need to get up right now and move with this. Yes, this means you again. You need to get up right now and move with this. Yes,
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
NBA Finals tipping off tonight, finally. And last night, Drapes, we had game one of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yes, Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? 4-3, was it? In overtime? Yes.
Yeah. Eddie Olczyk, the great Eddie Olczyk, is going to join us. Bottom of the hour. He's probably the only hockey/horse racing analyst in the country, right?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, he's a high level in hockey and horse racing, expert in both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Stanley Cup going on, and with the Belmont, the last jewel of the Triple Crown being held this weekend. We'll talk to Eddie Olczyk, bottom of the hour. Jake Laravia just did an interview with Michael Scotto and Hoops Hype. Really far-ranging interview. Jake says a lot of really nice things about the Kings. He doesn't commit to, he's not necessarily going to stay here, but he's certainly open to it. Loves playing for Doug Christie. And he also explained, Drapes, why the Kings missed the playoffs. What did you think of his answer? He says, it's not an excuse at all for them. See, that bothers me too. He doesn't say for us. He says for them. But anyway, it's not an excuse. He does say that.
You, man.
It's not an excuse at all for them, but it was a weird season for them in general. With a coaching change, trading Darren Fox, Luke Laux left to be the Florida State head coach. Things were happening within the organization that you don't typically see during an NBA season. They were definitely going through stuff like that. When I got there, Zach LaVine, Jonas Valanciunas were new. We were all trying to learn how to play together individually. There are not many more teams that probably had more talent than LaVine, DeRozan, Sabonis, and Keegan Murray. A lot of talented individual players. It was more so, how are we going to be able to piece everyone together and play as a unit? I just don't think there was enough time for that.
Another encouraging soundbite from one Jake Laravia.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% true. It's 100% sort of what DeMar DeRozan said last week as well. There wasn't enough time for it to all come together, And when he said them, I feel like he was talking about them before he got there. And then after he got there, he said, we, us, then he changed his tone a little bit there, Whitey. So don't read too much into that. But no, it's, I agree, man. I agree 100% with Jake. I'm not saying it's a championship level team, but on paper, this is the most talented Sacramento Kings team since I've been here. I just finished my 5th season. And so I need more time to figure out whether it's a solid team. And I'm not saying championship. I'm not saying that, Whitey, but they should be better than 40 wins. Like the turmoil, everything they went through, that probably, in my opinion, sacrificed 5, 6, 7 games last season.
It sounds like he may be on the run it back bus, and it sounds like you got a seat right next to him.
I can see a pathway to doing that. It would not be, it would be understandable, I'll say it like that, to run it back. You still need a point guard. And I'm not saying, just exact same roster. Yeah, but the core of LaVine, DeMar, Domas, and Keegan, Mind you, Malik Monk was injured. Mind you, Malik Monk was playing out of position for half the season as well once De'Aaron got traded. And so guys never had a chance to fully figure out how they fit in as a group.
This is not a loaded question. I'm really curious to see how you answer. So I'm not trying to lead you one way.
Gotcha questions here?
I'm not making a statement with my question. If they brought it back for the most part and maybe added a point guard, somebody to add some depth, do you think fans would get behind that? Obviously, it's hard to say without knowing the specifics of who, but just in general, if the organization comes out and says, you know what, we felt we didn't have time for it to all come together last year. We think we still have room for improvement there. And plus we had this guy and that guy. Do you think fans would get on board with that?
That's a great question. And it's not a loaded question or anything like that. And I'm going to shoot it to you as honestly as I can possibly deliver it here. I don't know, because it's hard to gauge the pulse of the fan base because the negativity is so loud. You know, is that the vocal minority though? Or is that 70% of the, it's hard when, I think if they run it back, I don't know if from the get-go fans would get on board, but I believe the team is good enough to get the fans back on board. I don't think anybody is assuming this roster is championship level. But if I'm a Kings fan, which I am, I just want to see some respectability. I want to see some stability. I don't want to see us lose a game at Washington when our backs are against the wall and we're fighting for a playoff spot and we go on the road and get hammered by Washington, lose by 30 to Orlando. I just want some solid, respectable play, and I think fans can get behind that, Whitey.
I think if it comes to that, it'll just be a matter of having to show fans, and there will be a lot of skepticism. Again, that's a big if it comes to that. You'll just have to show them that it can work. And I'm reminded of 2011, Jim Harbaugh takes over the 49ers. They had a lockout that year, which made it a little more complicated. Yeah. But then once the lockout ended and teams started coming together, got the new coach, what are the 49ers going to do at quarterback? And Jed York was on your station, your TV station. Mm-hmm. They had an afternoon talk show, and somebody was asking him, who's going to be the quarterback? And he said, Alex Smith is our quarterback. Okay. People, and I might have been there with him, were laughing.
Really?
Yes, I kid you not. They were scoffing at it. That is, you can't do that. Well, Alex Smith helped them get to the NFC championship game.
Right.
But the 49ers were, this is what we're doing. So if it comes to that, don't know whether it will or not. There's going to be a lot of skepticism and a lot of unhappy fans. But if it works, I think a lot of those people will just have no choice but to get on board.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I feel like the fan base, at least the vocal, they're so frustrated. They're so angry. We could say we're running it back and adding Chris Paul and people like anything the Kings do outside of trading for Jason Tatum or Giannis or somebody like that is going to be viewed with a skeptical eye, maybe even negative. Like, think about it like this. How many times have we heard, man, if the Kings get the number one pick, they'll just botch it anyway. It's just a negative vibe. And I feel like the negativity is so loud right now because that's people's comfort zone right now. It's like they're so blinded and so jaded by the history of this organization that when something good comes along, a la, in my opinion, Scott Perry, Doug taking over, a full offseason, people can't even recognize it because of 20 years of futility, if you will.
Yeah, I think here's what makes the Kings situation so delicate and difficult, in a lot of ways unique. I don't think they've ever been in this situation since they've been here. You could run it back. You could win 45 games, 46 games, and get knocked out in the first round. There would still be a lot of people who would say, yeah, see, they should have tanked.
Right.
So we've never had that before.
Yeah. Think about that. You can make the playoffs in this town, and people are like, we shouldn't have did that.
Yeah,
that's crazy, right?
Yeah, I think that would happen. We've never been in that situation.
Yeah. It's I think it's out of control right now, man. I think the expectations And the path to get to where we want to go is so varied. You know, me and you have talked about, you know, we're against tanking. We do want the team to get better. I don't even know if you and I agree on how to get better. Like, there's so many different opinions with this. And from a team standpoint, I just got to believe Scott Perry's the right guy. Like, I need to see Scott Perry make some moves, whether it's this offseason, regular season, next season, whatever it is. I got to put faith and trust in him. I can't go into thinking, who cares? Vivek's going to mess him up. This is Scott Perry. He helped build the Knicks, team that just got to the Eastern Conference Finals. And so I'm optimistic, Whitey. Even if they run it back, I still think this team should be better than 40 wins.
I do think they have a guy who's capable of threading the needle on this. They do have the type of guy doing the job who I think you could look at it and go, yeah, he's definitely the type of guy you need with his background. Some of the shrewd trades he's made, some of the teams that he's helped put together. That's no guarantee. Doesn't necessarily mean anything, but they got a shot.
They got a shot. They have a shot. And
it's also not going to happen like that either, right?
I like the people that have, you know, been brought in, though. You know, the B.J. Armstrongs, the Mike Woodsons of the world. These are veteran basketball NBA guys.
Mm-hmm. Jake Laravia. Oh, did the A's pull
it
out?
Yeah, they pulled it out. I was worried there. No worry from you, though. You knew all along they were going to
the A's hit for the home run cycle?
Yes, they did.
Solo, two-run shot,
3-run shot,
shot.
and a grand slam.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
4-3. Look out, the A's are on their way now.
Townie out there. Look at that. Townie and Carlos. I'd love to hear what they're saying.
Did you see the shot yesterday? What happened when they were in the same spot?
I saw that. Yeah.
Behind him with the
cell shirt. Yeah. Was that Kyle Ledbetter out there yesterday?
I don't think it was. When we come back, Jake Laravia's answer to the question, what do you see for this team looking ahead as constructed? Next on Sacktown Sports.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Tribe Guys on Sacktown Sports.
Trips, if you're Scott Perry, how much are you paying attention to this? You got this new blueprint in basketball. Miles Turner said, I think it's a new blueprint for the league. I think the years of the super teams and stacking, it's just not as effective as it once was. The new trend now is just kind of what we're doing. OKC does the same thing. Young guys, get out and run, defend. Now, I've never heard a basketball player say this before. And use the power of friendship.
Ooh, I like that. The power of friendship.
What?
It's a new day. It's a new era.
Yeah, you had Mark Daignault say the whole. He's talking about the Pacers. The whole is better than the sum of the parts with the Pacers, which I think is a sign of a good team. So maybe we're overreacting. Maybe it's not a new blueprint.
Right.
But I think it is something the Kings have to be mindful of as they chart their course going forward.
Well, here's the thing, though, Whitey. When I look at the recent champions, I don't see a super team. Boston really wasn't a super team. Like, you know, they were a balanced, sort of like OKC, sort of like Indiana, 1 through 7, all good players. You know, I look at Denver. That's not a super team. Was Golden State a super team when they won it?
Not in 22.
Not in 22. That wasn't a super team. Milwaukee, that wasn't a super team. So I believe the days of just making a trade and it happening overnight, the biggest name available, we look at the Knicks, they traded for Karl Anthony Towns, and sure, they got within 2, but that didn't work. That didn't instantly. We see Phoenix, we see the Lakers, they got Luka. Oh, they're going, nah. I think it takes more than just high-level talent. You got to have the right combination of people, but I've always felt that when team sports. Look at it. We could go back to, 2004? Pistons, Lakers?
Mm-hmm.
Lakers had a super team. That didn't work out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a new day or a new era. You got to build a basketball team. You can still do that with high-level players, superstars, but you can also do it with one superstar and a bunch of really good players too.
The question for Jake Laravia in this Michael Scotto interview.
What do you got?
What do you see for this team looking ahead as constructed? He said, there are a lot of winners on this team. There are a lot of guys that make sacrifices when they're playing, and a lot of that archetype I was talking about with me, where it's just both sides of the ball and a gritty, tough defensive energy and intensity. We know with Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis, players like that. You have Domantas, who's a high IQ center who can play on the wing and help facilitate, so the point guard doesn't always have to do stuff. It's a very well-rounded team, and stuff may change in the offseason. I don't know whether they trade anyone or whatever happens with that. I think that this team has all the talent it needs to succeed. Maybe he does want to stay
there.
Here.
Or hold up, Whitey. We got a guy that's been in the locker room, that's been on the floor with these guys saying, we have enough talent to be good.
Yeah.
And Joe Schmo on his grandmom's basement couch is saying, blow it up. This is a guy that's been in the war room, that's been in the practice, that's been in the trenches, and he's saying there's enough talent there.
Yeah.
I've been saying there's more than enough talent there to win more than 40 games. And so
that's what Eddie Johnson was saying.
Right.
Well, that's a low bar. You're right, but there's enough talent there to win 40 games. Well, I would hope so.
I said more than 40.
Yeah.
More than 45, 46, 47. That's very respectable.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing to, poo-poo about. I think when you look at the Western Conference, people are getting hung up on just how tough it was, 48 wins. Go back two seasons ago when the Kings won 48. These things changed year to year. This upcoming year, a team like the Clippers may take a step back. Minnesota, Golden State, you just never know. And I'll say this. I don't know if anybody thought Houston would be as good as they were, but it came together and they clicked. And mid-season, they started hitting their stride. Why can't Sacramento get hot? That's our problem the last 2 years, Whitey. We haven't really gotten hot. We had the 1 7-game winning streak, and then we trade De'Aaron Fox.
You're right.
But we haven't really got into any sort of flow or groove, it feels like, in the last 2 years. Go ahead. What are you?
No. This is a positive.
I'm going to start calling you Trip Advisor.
No.
All right.
You misunderstand me, because I'm trying to figure out why is he saying these things? Where's he coming from? And I know it's great.
Okay.
I'm not accusing him of anything, but he does say, well, I don't have my mind made up. But he is saying a lot of nice things about the Kings that, let's face it, he doesn't have to. Right?
Right.
He could just say, Michael, I don't want to talk, thanks, but I don't want to do an interview.
Right.
But yet he's coming out and he's saying all these nice things about the team.
And the city, the fan base.
Right.
As awful as it felt, Kings fans, for this guy, he had a good time here in Sac. It's not all negative for him out here. I don't know how DeMar feels about his 1 year in Sacramento, but it's clear that Jake, the wins and losses didn't come, but he enjoyed his time here in Sacramento, which is shocking because the behind the scenes stuff, the turmoil and everything, it's hard to be happy and smile when all that's going on.
Spencer Lampkin's here.
Here we go.
Good to have you with us, Spencer. No, I think this is fine. He says, I feel like their hands are tied to run it back based on contracts and money. Adding a point guard might be the only move they can make for now until Scott Perry has a pathway for making moves.
There you go.
That could be a very insightful comment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
People are going to rant and rave if they run it back. Oh, why'd they do that? I think Spencer may have the right of it. We don't know for sure yet, but it might be. That's really their best option right now.
Yes, exactly. I'm with you on that. And I agree with Spencer. It's especially because, like we've talked about here in recent days, maybe our players' trade value, everybody that, the player everybody wants to get rid of, doesn't have a whole lot of trade value. And I'm looking at the text line, Whitey, this person from the 916, West Sac Noah. Hey, guys, stuck in traffic. Here's what I got. Sign Laravia, trade DeRozan for a pick, get a point guard. Monk on the bench. 5, get Peja as shooting coach. I don't think that's what kind of point guard. You can't just get rid. I could argue DeMar DeRozan was probably our best player.
The way I heard it, I thought you were saying trade DeMar for a pick, use the pick to get a point guard, or maybe
no.
All right.
Here it is. 1, sign Laravia. 2, trade DeRozan for a pick. 3, get a point guard. 4, move Monk to the bench. And 5, Peja as a shooting coach. I don't know. That doesn't move the needle.
Monk
much
to the
for
bench
me.
probably is going to happen.
Yeah, probably. I get that.
Get a point guard is probably going to happen.
Get a point guard. Trade DeRozan for a pick.
Probably not going to happen.
Probably not going to happen.
Not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying it's not going to happen.
And me personally, I think it's a bad idea. First of all, you're probably not, to your point, not getting a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Second of all, if you take away DeMar DeRozan, what are you filling it with? Just a point guard. What, Tyus Jones? If we take DeMar off this team and just add Tyus Jones, I don't think we're as good. I don't think we're 40 wins, to be honest with you. DeMar won probably 6 to 8 games for us this past season.
You know who Wes Goldberg is?
No.
Wes Goldberg used to cover the Warriors. He covers the Heat.
No.
He's in Miami now. We could probably get him on.
Yeah, what do you
say? Well, no, I'm just saying maybe we should try to get him on. Just trying to figure out, does the Heat have any interest in DeMar DeRozan? He's another guy that would know.
That would know.
Tell us,
right. Boots
maybe,
on the ground.
Or he could say, no, there's no interest, because we're going to have a bunch of stories.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I've seen websites and people do like a daily DeMar to Miami trade package scenario. We don't even know really if Miami's interested in DeMar, to your point.
Team Simpton weighs in with, I hope the Kings get as much done with trades and free agents this offseason without burning any first-round picks. What are the best realistic moves the Kings can make without trading any first-rounders, and ideally maybe bring back a draft pick or 2 during the process?
I mean, I'll just say this in my thoughts, like we're saying here. I've said this as I might be in the minority in Sacramento. I'm not trading DeMar DeRozan. He, like you said, Drapes, he was the best player on the Kings this entire season, and he probably won 6 to 8 games. Case in point, game you could definitely point to, he won them the Dallas game in Dallas in March when he had 42 and did everything but sell popcorn in that game. So if you're trying to trade him because he wants to move on, great. But if you want to trade him just to trade him, then that in my eyes is not the move for me. And again, as you saying, in terms of a point guard, what type of a point guard are we talking? Well, I agree Tyus Jones is a nice point guard. He's a complimentary point guard for what the Kings may need. That's not everything. Plus, the other thing I was going to say about Jake Laravia, as he said, he just wanted out of Memphis, and anything to him was a light at the end of the tunnel and something much a breath of fresh air for him. And he found in Sacramento this to be a breath of fresh air. Hopefully they can find a way to retain him, and hopefully he can keep contributing to this organization.
Here's why I would be very open to trading DeMar DeRozan if he was open to it and I could get something of value. 1, I need to get younger. 2, I need to get better defensively. And 3, I could get something for him now. A year from now, is he signed for how many more years? 1 or 2
He got
years?
2, but only 1 is fully guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I could get something for him now when he just is coming off a good year, his value is as high as it's going to be most likely. I'm not like getting rid of him for nothing, but I definitely would be open to moving him if I can get younger.
What's the minimum that you would take back for DeMar? What's, everybody's throwing out DeMar packages and you're just giving them away for a 2nd-round pick, or are you,
I said I'm not giving away for nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if I could get a 1st-rounder, which I think your friend suggested
yeah,
I would probably do that. Depending on the team, I would probably do that. But I don't think I can.
I don't know if you're going to. And then a young player, I don't even know if you can get that, Whitey.
I know.
Like, I don't, I'm on Ramsey's side. I'm not hell-bent on getting rid of DeMar DeRozan. because half the season we didn't even have a point guard. So he was thrust into having the ball in his hands a lot more, trying to create and facilitate for others. And I can also add Sacramento Kings fans. The ISO ball that we saw from DeMar in his eyes was out of necessity because you didn't have anybody else that was willing to step up and take over. And people were screaming, pass the ball, and I get it. But we look at that play-in game, the Kings were dreadful that first half. Wasn't until DeMar went ISO ball in the third quarter that they started even kind of making a run. And so I feel like a lot of times what we see from DeMar in his eyes is out of necessity.
If these games are close in the finals, and you and I are on different sides of this, but this is a point that I think actually helps your argument. If these games in the finals are close, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to play the game down the stretch a lot like DeMar DeRozan did last year with the Kings.
Right. Yeah. Ball going to be in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get to his little elbow spot and take a contested jumper. You either make it or you miss it. And we see that a lot in the NBA. You know, a lot of teams do that, especially when you have a big star player. You know, I used to see Paul Pierce do that all the time, even though he had Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. He used to do it all the time.
It is interesting. When DeMar does it, a lot of people, now one of them say the game has moved in another direction. When Shai does it, since he's the MVP, that's brilliant. He's bringing it back.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Ed Olczyk's going to join us. Great Ed Olczyk with a look at the Stanley Cup Finals and the Belmont next on Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Whitey here for Napoleon Grills, reminding you that when buying a new grill, every detail matters. While supplies last, you'll receive a $149 gift with purchase on every new Napoleon Prestige stainless steel grill. The kit even includes a pizza lover starter kit and much more. And now up to $79 off Napoleon Rogue models. Napoleon grills are built different, built better, built to last, with a lifetime warranty and premium steel that boasts amazing quality. Visit Green Acres Nursery today for your best selection of Napoleon grills and accessories.
Louis C.K. in an all-new show, Ridiculous 2025 Tour.
When I was younger, you had to go in the bank. Remember that? You had to go inside the bank. Now you look in the bank, you're like, what are those people doing in there? Are they cleaning? The money's out here.
Friday and Saturday, June 13th and 14th, 8 p.m., the venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Louis C.K. live on stage.
People are coming from all over to Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, from Folsom, Elk Grove, Woodland, Roseville, because they've seen for themselves the huge selection and the best prices at SacSuperstore.com. Good luck finding a lower price anywhere else. And if you do, they'll match it. It's as simple as that. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where a handshake still means something. Open until 10 o'clock and centrally located right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. And online at SacSuperstore.com. The guaranteed lowest price and the best selection of Dodge, Chrysler, Jeeps, and Rams. SacSuperstore.com.
At Valley Strong Credit Union, we know that local businesses are the backbone of the Central Valley, investing in our neighborhoods, boosting the economy, making the Valley stronger. But when it comes to their finances, where can they turn? A big bank that just sees another number? That's not good enough. Valley businesses deserve Valley support for payroll, credit, cash flow, and everything in between. Valley Business is Valley Strong, Learn how our cash management services can support your business at valleystrong.com.
Saturday, June 7th, the Spears Cars Tours West lights up the Stockton 99 Speedway with limited and pro late models, MMI Legends, mini stocks, and NCMA sprints. Presented to you by Tracy Ford. Gates open at 5, racing at 6. Grab your tickets now at Stockton99.com. Be there.
At SMUD, we power business with incentives, strategic account advisors, 50% lower rates, and clean energy solutions. We help businesses thrive. That's our clean power promise. Learn more at smud.org.
I gotta get business cards printed for my entire staff, but where do I even?
That was easy.
Oh, okay, Staples. But can I have bigger stuff printed too, like huge signs and banners?
That was easy.
Nice. And what if I had to ship a package?
That was easy.
Have my passport photo taken?
That was easy.
Coffee and snacks?
That was easy.
What about the latest laptops?
That was
Earbuds
easy.
and headphones?
That was
Office
easy.
chairs?
That was easy.
I think I also need to get some Staples.
Seriously?
I had to ask.
For everything your business needs to get the job done.
Staples. That was easy.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
After ye home for Kings Talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
Yeah, the NBA Finals tip off tonight, but last night, I don't know, Drapes, did you see what the G-Man, Gary Gerald, posted?
No, what did he say?
He said, what a hockey match last night. The Stanley Cup Finals underway. Oilers 4, Panthers 3 in overtime. Nice enough to join us with more on that. 16-year NHL veteran, 1994 Stanley Cup champion, NBC Sports NHL on TNT analyst, Eddie Olczyk. How are you, Eddie? How about that game last night?
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was at certain times in that game last night, you know, each team had the opponent on the ropes and weren't really able to finish it off, especially, you know, Florida, because of the 2-goal lead that they had in the second period. They had a 3-1 lead, and they had a couple of unbelievable chances to get some separation, you know, to make it 4 or 5-1 and really give yourself some breathing room. But Stuart Skinner, the goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers, played really well and gave his team an opportunity to get back into it. And then the best player in the world, and Connor McDavid, made a couple of great plays. And then Leon Draisaitl, you know, ended up winning it in overtime. So the Oilers have a 1-0 lead, and I've packed for 17 days for our coverage on TNT. So I think you guys know where I'm headed here as far as the next 2+ weeks.
Okay.
I think this series is far from over right now.
Eddie, I was going to ask you, are you going to New York for the Belmont at all? Or are you just out there on the road? What are you doing, man?
No, yeah, I'm just right now hockey mode.
Okay.
You know, we don't have the Belmont anymore at NBC, so our friends over at Fox our friends at Fox will have it on Saturday. So we'll have the 2 games here in Edmonton and in a change of venue, but my travel will allow me to get my feet wet and wear out my Twin Spires app on Saturdays to get to get some action for the Belmont at 7:00 Eastern on Saturday night. So I'm looking forward to a little pucks and ponies action this weekend.
Nice. Yeah, you know I'm going to ask you your picks coming up in just a little bit. As a little side note, Eddie, is Kyle Draper here. I used to work in Boston with the great Bob Newmeyer, who I know you're very, knew me. None better. And rest in peace, Bob. And he put me on to the ponies and shared a lot. So always think about him during this time of year. You know, as we get back to the Stanley Cup, you know, a rematch from last year, both these teams were good regular season. Why do you think both of them are here once again in this position?
Well, I mean, I think both teams are better than they were last year. I think in particular, Edmonton, you know, they're missing one of their top 2-way forwards that got hurt in the last round of the playoffs, and Zach Hyman, a guy that's able to score goals, grind it out, play physical. give you a little bit of a different look. But both teams are relatively healthy, speaking when it comes to the NHL playoffs. You know, they both have excellent goaltending. Their depth on defense, I think, is what separates them from a lot of teams in the National Hockey League. And you got to be able to defend, but you also have to be able to transport the puck. You have to be able to beat players. And that's something that Edmonton, I thought, did really well at times last night. And when they didn't, they had their face up against the glass because of the relentless forecheck of Florida and their physical style. But I just think that these are two of the top 5 teams in the National Hockey League. And yeah, maybe point-wise over the course of the regular season, you know, maybe aren't what maybe some people may think. But if you look at the body of work and knowing that both these teams have played a lot of hockey here, I mean, I think Florida's approaching now, because this is the 3rd straight Stanley Cup appearance, looking to win their 2nd in a row. I think they've played 309 games over the course of the last 3 years. And a lot of the players have, you know, obviously been an important part of that. But I just think that when you look at the path to get here, especially in this year's playoffs, you go back to round 1 for Edmonton, the LA Kings. And if you're an LA King fan, and I know I should say that quietly
right around here
in the audience, you know, they had the Edmonton Oilers over a barrel in round 1. They were up 2-0. They were up 4-3 in game 3, looking to go up 3-0 after the second period of game 3. And they lost that game. They gave up 4 in the third period. Then they had a lead in game 4, and they weren't able to hold on, and Edmonton never looked back, and they took out the LA Kings. And for the Florida Panthers in round 2, very similar. They were down 2-0 to the Toronto Maple Leafs. They came home. They were down 2 goals in the second period of game 3, looking to go down 0-3. They came back and won a game in overtime and eventually won that series in 7 games. So what I'm saying is that not only star power on both sides in experience and good goaltending, but they did have a couple of potholes here in these playoffs, and they both were able to overcome 0-2 deficits earlier in the playoffs, and here they are playing in the Stanley Cup final. And if you're a fan of the LA Kings and a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm extremely sorry for bringing that up, but I'm just bringing up the facts. Thank you, Joe Friday.
It's Ed Olczyk with us. Last night, Sam Bennett scored a couple times for Florida, and after the game, he said, "Just not let up. Don't sit back." Was Florida? They had that lead. Did Florida? Were they guilty of sitting back last night too much?
Maybe in the third period, not in the second period. They had 4 or 5 unbelievable chances in that second period to get some separation, to make it a 4-1 game, a 5-1 game, however you want to, call it out. But when you get great goaltending like that, it gives you every opportunity to win games and to be able to give yourself a chance to win each and every night. And I just think that, Florida they didn't cash in on the opportunities to make it 3 or 4 or make it 4 or 5-1. And Edmonton cashed in on, I think, a soft goal late in the second period. I didn't like the second goal given up by Sergei Bobrovsky, who's been obviously flat out awesome in these playoffs, especially since the first 2 games of that Toronto series. So, you give up one soft goal, all of a sudden teams got momentum, and then McDavid makes a play to tie it, and he makes the great play in overtime, and Draisaitl wins it in overtime and gets the OT-GWG. So long-winded on that. You'd like to see him maybe be a little bit more aggressive or whatever, but sometimes the game goes. Sometimes you're going to be up against the ropes, and you're going to have to take some body blows. You're going to have to take some shots, and Edmonton did that, and then the skate was on the other foot, and Edmonton was able to cash in when they got the opportunities.
Eddie Olczyk joining us. Eddie, last hockey one for me before I switch to horse racing. Can you give San Jose Sharks fans a ray of hope out there? Celebrini just finished his rookie year. They get the number 2 pick. Can you see, maybe things, I know it's way down the road, but is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Can they start to put something together in San Jose?
Oh, they have the pieces to start taking that step back to, the real competitive nature that we know, that the Sharks had, a handful of years ago. And it's been tough times. Yeah, it's been probably a lot slower than everybody, would like, but they do have those, pieces. And you mentioned Celebrini, who he is just his hockey IQ from afar. And I consider Drew Remenda a great friend of mine, of course, one of the voices for the San Jose Sharks. And talking to him, and he sees him every day, but watching him and he's going to be that 200-foot player that is going to be a difference maker, not only highly skilled offensively, but just knows where to be, plays on the right side of the puck. So when you can build, your team around a player like that, not only short term, but long term, you're gonna be competitive, and you're gonna be in a lot of games. So I think that they are moving in the right direction. I mean, they're probably still, a few years away from making the playoffs, but I think they're in a way better spot now than they were, probably 3 years ago, and that's a positive.
Mm-hmm. That's Ed Olczyk. We move from pucks to ponies with the Belmont coming up this weekend. Ed, what does this race mean for journalism's legacy after finishing second in the Derby and then winning the Preakness?
Well, I mean, it'd be an unbelievable notch in the belt. There's no doubt about it. For people that, just let people know, usually the Belmont is 1.5 miles and run in Elmont, New York, but they're doing renovations to Belmont, and they're going to be running up at Saratoga Springs, New York, at Saratoga. So they're going to run 1.25 miles only, just the configuration is not really suitable. They ran the Belmont there last year. But I think, look, my pick for the Derby on NBC for our Derby coverage was journalism. I thought I think he does breathe different air than all of these horses. I didn't like the ride that he got in the Derby. He got an unbelievable ride in the Preakness. To run him back again, trainer Mike McCarthy, I mean, this horse must be doing very well and what have you. You got to use him. He's number 7 in the race. I'm actually going to use the horse that finished third to both Sovereignty and Journalism in the Kentucky Derby, and that's Baeza. He came out of post position 19 at the Derby out of 19 horses. He didn't get the greatest trip, and he really wasn't able to run when he really wanted to open up near the top of the lane in the Derby because of all the traffic, and I think the muddy conditions probably didn't help him at all. Keep an eye on the weather at Saratoga Springs this weekend. It looks like there's going to be a lot of rain Friday, tomorrow, and then into the morning on Saturday. Looks like there's going to be moisture in the track. I don't know how much, but my pick will be Baeza because I'm going to use all 3 of those horses out of the Derby.
Okay.
And I think Baeza is sitting on a big-time race. He did not run in the Preakness, that being Baeza. Right. Neither did the Derby winner. Yep. But I think Baeza should be a live horse at somewhere around 4-1.
My last question, Eddie, and I want to stay right there. Why do you think Sovereignty isn't getting a little more love? If I'm correct, it was a little wet out there at Churchill Downs for the Derby, and it looks like he's the third choice. Why do you think that is?
I think that people feel, and again, sometimes when you get the early money, they may be betting that on a fast track, it's Journalism and Baeza and everywhere else. So again, look at if the track comes up off, I mean, you got to use them. I mean, you do. I'm going to use them for third, but I think just right now the early money is just kind of tending that it's going to be a fast track. But again, we know the weather can change, but it looks like there is going to be some moisture in that track. But my pick will be with the 6 Baeza, 7 Journalism, and I will use the Derby winner, Sovereignty, and the number 2.
All right. Ed Olczyk, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the Stanley Cup. Enjoy the race. We hope to talk to you soon. We appreciate it.
Okay, guys. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff.
All
right, man.
Yeah. When we come back, another odd record that these NBA finals will set. Next, Drive Guys, Sacktown Sports.
Hey everyone, it's Kyle Draper here. If you're in the market for a new car, let me tell you about my experience with Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. From the moment I walked into their state-of-the-art showroom, I knew I was making the right choice. There was no pressure from the sales staff, and if I'm being honest, I felt like a kid in a candy store. I settled on the all-electric EQS SUV, and let me tell you why. First of all, the comfort. After a long day at work, I actually look forward to being in my car. It has several different massage settings, including my favorite, hot relaxing back. Plus, the seat heating and cooling features are perfect for the hot summer or those chilly mornings. Mercedes-Benz has the reputation of making the finest cars in the world. Now it's your turn to experience what I already know. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is the best car buying experience you'll ever have. They're just a short drive down I-5, or you can shop online anytime at mbofstockton.com. That's mbofstockton.com, and tell them Drape sent you.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers. T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Low Cash, Vincent Mason, and Averyana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra. Tickets are available now at CITPFest.com.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, looking for something positive in the midst of a dismal stretch for the A's, center fielder Denzel Clark, finishing his second weekend in the big leagues and playing in his hometown of Toronto, went 4 for 9 with a home run in the last 3 games of the series, and also made a sensational Spider-Man leaping catch over the wall in center field, robbing Alejandro Kirk of a home run. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. It's how retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And it's how healthcare offices become data-managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
Summer's almost here, and so are popsicles, pool days, and a lot of smiling. Make sure your kiddo's smile is ready with a visit to Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics. Our expert team makes dental visits easy and fun with sensory-friendly hours for kids who need a calmer environment. We can also accommodate same-day treatments, and to save you time, if your child needs multiple treatments, we can often do them all at once. Appointments fill up fast, so don't wait. Beat the summer rush and schedule online at kidscaredental.com. That's kidscaredental.com, where healthy, happy smiles begin.
The Drive Guys powering your afternoons Monday through Friday on Sacktown Sports.
Can we talk about that, Drapes, right there? Okay.
That pisses me off.
You got to be, we try to, you know this already, we try to remind you, you got to be really careful when you're figuring out all these rumors and reports on NBA trades and free agency, and Drapes just exposed a big hoax.
And it's not even Legion hoops. Now that I look at it closer, it's Logion Hoops. So it's a fake Legion Hoops account that tweeted the Lakers are planning to sign Chris Paul this offseason per Chris B. Haynes. Not Chris Haynes. Chris B. Haynes.
So a fake side is quoting a fake
Chris Haynes.
Did you get God Draper?
No, not at all. I didn't retweet it. That's why I texted Chris Haynes.
Right.
This is what I do. This is what I do on social media, Ramsey and Whitey. And I've said this before. When I see something in social media, I look at it with a side eye, and then I text or hit up the source. So I hit up my boy Chris Haynes. I said, yo, are you reporting this? He's like, it's fake. And I said, I see that. I said, I hate social media.
It's even more fake than you realized
right.
at first.
It was
a double fake.
A double fake. And so you got to watch out there, man. It's so bad. Why would people do that, Whitey? It's ridiculous, man. Just sit around posting fake stuff.
Right.
Loser.
This. How many retweets you think I can get?
Unbelievable, man.
I'll get 100 easy.
Gosh.
Watch this.
Unbelievable. That's a loser account. And I've had to block several accounts who, report fake stuff or retweet fake because you don't want to get duped out there.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, man.
Whew, you do have to be careful.
Yeah.
Here's another odd record that these NBA finals are going to set. I hesitated there because I was thinking foolishly, well, should we talk about what they even talked about in the fake tweet? Well, of course not. Of course we shouldn't. It does relate to point guards, and we'll be talking about point guards top of the hour, but we won't be talking about that nonsense. How about this, Drapes? Dear listener, Ramsey, according to Stats Perform, the age gap between the 65-year-old Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle and the 40-year-old Thunder coach Mark Daigneault is the largest in finals history.
Really?
Yes. The largest age gap. Age doesn't matter. Does the experience matter? Is experience going to be a factor here when it comes to the head coaches? Rick Carlisle, who outcoached Tibs.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
Championship caliber coach Rick Carlisle. Won with Dallas back in the day. I think, and I was thinking about this before I got here today, Whitey, legacy and what can this do for the players? But Rick Carlisle, the level of respect that he's gotten from this run too, he's being viewed as a genius when it comes to coaching. And the thing about Rick that's so great, he sort of adapted his style.
Yep.
Remember him and Rondo? Bumped heads big time.
They kicked him off Dallas, right?
Yeah,
Just
kicked
like,
him
go
off
away.
Dallas.
You're
It's
gone.
like, nah, go home. We don't even want you. And, Rick Carlisle at the time was very hands-on, very structured. You gotta, and Rondo's a free-flowing guy. He considers himself a basketball genius. And what's interesting as you watch Rick Carlisle and Tyrese Halliburton, Rick Carlisle trusts Tyrese fully, gave him the keys. And so what Rondo wanted 10 years ago, Rick Carlisle is giving Tyrese Halliburton. So I think Rick Carlisle has softened over the years, mellowed, evolved over the years.
Yes,
exactly.
As you said, adapted to the way the game has changed.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
And so
that takes the ability to take yourself out of the equation and also the intelligence to recognize what's going on and recognize when change is required.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
they're still going to lose in 5 games, but still, he's a great coach.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Watching NBA TV, NBA Finals coverage.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, my boy Chris Miles next to Shaq looking like the Pink Panther out there. I'm going to text him here in a minute with that outfit looking like the Pink Panther. But second of all, I miss being on that stage, Whitey.
Yeah.
I miss being on that final stage. It's a who's who of NBA media. International media, the cameras, the press conference setup.
You were there once, 22?
2010. Lakers Celtics.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
22,
so I was here.
2010.
2010 Lakers Celtics, and it was the best time of my life. One of the most crowning moments of my career covering an NBA Finals. And so I miss being on, covered Eastern Conference Finals with the Celtics, but nothing like the NBA Finals.
How long had you been in Boston before they got to the?
That was my first year.
Wow.
That was my first. So I tried to bring that love
That's
here to
what we were
Sacramento,
kinda
right?
expecting.
My first year. I got there in November of 2009, June of 2010. We're in the finals. So I was there. It was my first year. And I'm getting goosebumps, man. This is going to be great. I was even thinking about trying to take Nick to one of the games, but OKC and Indiana, not easy places to get to from Sacramento.
Mm-hmm. Which one would you go to?
Probably OKC. Those are my guys out there.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Pacers are my guys, but OKC, that's my people.
Mm-hmm.
Know some people in the organization that might be able to help me out.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's tough. So I'm watching it. We got this on here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's exciting and everything. But no offense to you or Ramsey, but damn, I wish I was there.
You ain't gonna be there. You can stare
Soon,
at it all
though,
you
big
want.
fella.
You ain't going.
Kings about next season, baby. My boy Zach LaVine going to carry us to the promised land. You're like, yeah, nice joke.
It's good to have goals and hope and things to look forward to.
Yeah.
As the Shawshank Redemption says, there's no such thing as false hope. Kings going to win a championship next year. That's false hope. Hope is hope. There's
right?
no false hope.
So it can't be right.
You may be wrong.
You can't
but
tell
it's
me
not
what
false
I'm
hope.
hoping for.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
I will say, watching this, though, it's a reminder of how far we have to go. You know what I mean? It's and I'm watching. Who is that? Is that Nice? What?
Oh, it must be. Is that Case and Wallace?
Is that? No, that's not. I don't know who that is, and I don't know what that outfit is. I don't recognize.
That's Case and Wallace.
Is that Case and Wallace?
That's Case and Wallace.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, they're showing him because he's walking. He's ambulatory.
Right. Yeah. All right. Okay. But no, it's upsetting not to be there, and knowing that we're that far off from that. Like when you get to the finals, this is where legends are made. And so as we talk about Tyrese Halliburton, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, somebody's legacy will be cemented right now.
Right.
Tyrese wins a championship.
Right.
Shai wins it. Like, we're talking all-time grades, Hall of Famers, you know? And while we sit here try to figure out who the hell is our point guard, should we sign Tyus Jones? Come on, Whitey. What are we doing, man?
I think it's cool that neither team, and I know, hold on, asterisk, neither team has won the NBA title before. And I know, OKC did. OKC didn't. Seattle did. Yeah. Indiana did when they were in the ABA.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I don't, by the same token, Sacramento Kings have never won a championship. And I don't know Rochester and 51
Rochester.
but the Sacramento Kings have never won a
Kings,
championship.
Yeah. Can you imagine what it's like for those cities, OKC, Indiana, to your point, that have never won it, and now one of them will? Like, for Sacramento, what it would do for our city? Scott Perry got to get this right, man. We got to get this right. We got to be on the big stage. And, I'm not saying finals next year or 2 years, but can we at least be, what I want? And I know the rules are changing. I want national TV games every game. I want the marquee game on TNT. Well, NBC Sports going forward. But
C-Web days that happen all the time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I want to be the Sunday night, Saturday night basketball game that the whole country gets to see.
Used to be Sunday afternoon on NBC.
Yes.
Yeah. And they were out here a lot. Thursday night TNT, they were out here a lot.
What I tell you about my boy Chris Miles, now they're they called him the Pink Panther 2. Yeah, that's my guy right there.
When we come back, we'll look at the Drive Guys prospective point guard of the day.
Oh, you starting this?
Yeah, let's start it. Next on Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for American Energy, and oh my goodness, I'm born and raised here. I know it gets hot, but my goodness, we're already seeing 100-degree days. Listen to me. You do not want your system to conk out in the middle of June or July or August with one of those big 100-degree stretches. You want to make sure you're good all summer long. And my friends at American Energy Heating and Air can do that with a $24.50 tune-up right now. That's half price. And if you need a new system, $3,500 off, up to $3,500 off in rebates for qualified systems. They've been around since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Call them right now, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Jingle Singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
When I was in Iraq, our convoy was hit. It was bad. After I came home, I could still hear booms and see tracer fire. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
With help from DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Today, I'm part of DAV. We're veterans helping veterans to get the benefits they've earned. And I give my veterans my all.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Naomi Mathis, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
The Giant Summer Sale is here. Get giant savings on our Giant selection only at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save during the Giant Summer Sale and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
KHD 1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Right foot, 2 stumps. Left foot, 2 stumps. 1 hop this time. 1 hop this time. Get low, get low.
Live and local, it's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
It's time for Who's the Point with the Drive Guys. The Kings, we know, have an aching need for a point guard. There are people out there. We're looking for good fits. We're not just looking for names. We're not just going to go down the list of any point guard and say, "That. How about that guy?" We're looking for legitimate fits here as we see it. And I think we've already done a decent job of this. In fact, yesterday, Drapes, we were talking a lot about Colin Sexton.
Yes.
See what your boy Evan Siddery says today.
No, what did he say?
Let's see here. I thought it was minutes ago, but it was 6 hours ago. The Jazz are expected to listen to trade calls on Colin Sexton. $19.1 million expiring contract. Sexton's scoring and energy would be a welcome fit on a contending team. Sexton averaged 18.4 points, 4.2 assists, while shooting 40.6% on threes this season. Could he be a guy, if you could acquire him, that could be one of your young pieces going forward? We give him the keys. Maybe he is our point guard, not just now, not just next year, not just as a bridge guy. Maybe he is the guy as we build a winning team. Could he be?
Is this our point guard of the day?
No, he was yesterday, but I'm just doubling back on it.
You got somebody else coming up. Okay,
yeah, well,
all right. He could be. What is he, 26, I think we said? A young guy that can score. I think, if you throw him in there with DeMar and Zach, I don't necessarily like that three-headed monster,
right?
If you will, but I think he's a good player. And to me, he could be a starter in this league. When Evan Siddery talks about a contending team championship, to me, then he's a role player coming off the bench. But for us, I think he could be a starting point guard option.
And this is absolutely key to this, and you brought it up yesterday, Drapes. It's different now in Utah. I do this as much as anyone.
Yes.
Like, what about trading with Utah? Oh, Danny Ainge. But as Tony
Jones,
yesterday, it's not Danny Ainge's show anymore, huh?
It's his son Austin running the show. And I go back to Austin's introductory press conference when they asked him about, trying to stockpile draft picks in position for the draft. He said, "We will not be doing that this year." And so I think it's a change in philosophy in Utah. So maybe they are willing to finally make some deals. When's the last time they had like a legitimate trade of one of the guys, Collins? Like every trade deadline, every offseason, Danny Ainge has mentioned, and they haven't done anything recently.
Yeah, they've just been accumulating assets for years and years and years.
Yeah.
The last legitimate trade was when they traded Gobert and
was that
right?
Donovan Mitchell.
That's when they started.
Yes. That's like I think when Danny first got there, and so he hasn't done it. He has this nickname, Trader Danny. Dude ain't done nothing in here. He hasn't done anything. It's killing me.
We talked about Lonzo this week.
My boy Lonzo. Yes,
I know you're very high on the idea of bringing in Lonzo.
Yep. Sign me up. Low risk, high reward potential there.
And we also talked yesterday, of course, about Tyus Jones. And it seems like everyone, virtually everyone, people you talk to, the comments we get on the phone and read, everyone's like, yeah, he'd probably be okay.
Yeah, he's all right. Solid, good player. Doesn't move the needle. I honestly, Tyus Jones on this team, maybe an extra win, maybe 2. Like, I don't think he moves the needle enough for us.
Question for you, Drapes.
Yeah.
Do you need a move the needle player? Do you just need someone solid at point guard to stabilize the team and move them forward?
No, I think you need to move a move the needle player because, even if you keep DeMar and Zach, your move the needle player will make those guys more efficient. Those guys better, will raise the team. If you just get any warm old body to throw in there, that doesn't do much, So I think you need
just kind of kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I think, and here's the thing. Let's say you do decide to run it back and this is your group and everything. Why not put together a competitive team that can win 45 games? Now if you're going to be tanking and you're not trying to win, well, then sell off some assets. Like, to me, getting just a warm body to fill the role doesn't do much for me.
And I just want to piggyback off that. As you said, move the needle, and you were talking about Colin Sexton. Personally, for me, I don't feel that he moves the needle because in the previous stops that he's been at in Cleveland and Utah, he's had his ups and downs, his trials and tribulations. And is he finding himself, or has he found himself yet in the league? That I don't know, and I can't answer because I believe he's been subpar in comparison to the expectations that were set forth for him.
He's been a good player, but he may not be the player that you would want to hand the keys to. There's two teams that have decided basically, yeah, you're not the guy for us. So.
Right. It's and he was coming off injury, a few years ago, coming from Cleveland to Utah and everything like that.
But as you said, he plays like a bull.
A young bull, yes. I like him. I like him a lot. And, to me, Colin Sexton makes a lot of sense if you move off of DeMar because he's more of a scoring guy. Him and Zach in the backcourt, does he defend, though? That's what I don't know really about him. Like, I know he is a bull, but that's more offensively. Does he get after it defensively, Whitey?
Do more research. I think he would be one of, it's not saying a lot, but your better defenders. I'm not saying Keon. Or anything like that.
You put on some Converse and top 10s or something to get out there. You'll be one of the better defenders. Oh, you got you. Okay, I see.
There you go. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Mark has been hanging on to talk with the Drive Guys. What's up, Mark? How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
What's up, Mark?
Hey, how you doing? It doesn't move the needle for me. I just, I've been calling it a few times, like different shows. I mean, everyone seems to be on board with our defensive backcourt. That kind of reminds me of the young Boston Celtics duel. Well, they're not young, but, our version would be a young version of White and Drew. I mean, I don't know. I mean, why? Is it just me? I mean, is it possible that these guys could grow into that role? And if so, why wouldn't you want to roll with that? I mean, I don't see the traditional point guard really doing much for a lot of these teams, and it seems like we had Fox. I mean, he was a pretty good point guard, right? He didn't really, we didn't get out of the first round. I mean, why are we looking at point guards, but we still aren't addressing the major needs of the team in my eyes, like our athleticism, our length, and our wings and so forth.
Thanks, Mark.
Nah, if I'm hearing Mark correct, he doesn't consider point guard the top need. Is that basically what he's saying? Yes, you do need to upgrade wings, bigs, and everything like that. But the quick fix, easy solution for this upcoming season, and the one glaring hole, because you may not like DeMar, you may not like, Keegan at the 4 or whatever it is, but they're serviceable in their positions. They're solid in their positions. Point guard? We don't have it. It's Kool-Aid without sugar, Whitey. You could drink sugar-free Kool-Aid, big fella.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be okay with it.
Yeah.
But if you really want to do something, if you really want to have a good time, you got to put some sugar in that damn Kool-Aid. Right. That's what the point guard is. It's our sugar to our Kool-Aid right now.
Live. Put sugar, Kool-Aid. Live your life.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Colin Sexton has a reputation of being a guy that doesn't defend. I just saw a piece here from Chris Mannix, but this is actually from January of 24. He says he has become a serviceable defender. And he has a reputation, or had a reputation, as being an empty calorie player, and it's something that he has addressed in Utah, and they've been pleased with his progress.
Right.
Maybe not too pleased if they're looking to trade him.
I will say this about Colin Sexton. Anytime I watch him, I never question his compete level.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I never feel like he's half-assing it or anything like that. You know, like you said, the reason why he's called a young bull, he competes. May not be the, best on ball defender, but it's not for lack of effort. It's not for lack of trying. And so I'm warming up to the idea of even more of a Colin Sexton.
Yeah. I know that when he was first with Cleveland, they loved that. Remember, they called it, I never liked it, Sexland.
Oh, yeah.
They called Sexton.
Yeah. Kind of made you feel a certain type of way.
But the point is, they did seem to think they were onto something.
Right. No, he's a good player. What did he average? 18 a game, I think, last year, 4 assists. And so, I don't know if he's the answer for us going forward. Let me ask you this, though.
Mm-hmm.
If the goal is to win a championship, compete for a championship, is Colin Sexton your starting point guard?
Well, I would answer this way. I'm looking at him as maybe it's like he could be.
Okay.
That's why I would get him. He's young. The thing is, am I willing to give up a lot to get a guy that is he going to be worth more than, say, I'd have to give up at least one, right, to get him, one first rounder? Am I confident?
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And it sounds like there is going to be, I don't know if there's going to be a bidding war, but there's going to be interest. So I'm not going to be able to lowball Danny Ainge's son and come away with him. So that would be my answer. That's one of the things I like about him is like, depends on what my scouts say, but this is a guy that could be available and he could be a piece for us going forward. And maybe as we become, hopefully in a few years, a contender, could he be a piece of that? I think he might be. That's one of the things I like about him.
Okay.
But also he's expiring, right?
Expiring.
So,
yeah.
That's where it gets a little tricky.
But let me ask it, and I guess you wouldn't give up a first for an expiring, are we in the market of getting off some of this money?
We're okay there, though. Aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking for free agency going forward. Mm-hmm. Like, we can't do much now. We could do the mid-level and things like that. But is Sacramento not in the market of, next year, 2 years down, I don't know who the player that would be entering. John Moran enters into free agency. We don't want to have cap space for any kind of big name free agent moves, right? Like our cap space is for trades and stuff.
I wouldn't be putting my eggs in the big name free agency market, but who knows, in the basket, I should say. Ownership, I don't know. Ownership here has always had kind of a googly eyes for those big names whenever they become anything close to available.
I got something for you, and I know we're about to take a break, so I'm going to tease it. Why the Sacramento Kings should not be going above the tax or flirting with the aprons.
Wow, okay. A lot of people think they should. Drape says no. He'll tell us why when we come back. I'm looking forward to this on Sacktown Sports.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9861. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9861. That's 800-575-9861. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Who's the point today? Who's the prospective point guard for the Kings that will feature? We have that coming up. Drapes has his explanation for why the Kings should not even flirt with the luxury tax, right? Or the apron? Where are we exactly?
Luxury tax, apron, first apron, second apron.
A lot of fans, they call this station, especially I think I hear them on the morning show, well, they'll never pay the into the luxury tax. That's why the Kings are no good. You got to pay into luxury tax.
Doesn't make sense to pay into the luxury tax right now, Whitey. We're not close enough to a champion. You can start getting into the luxury tax right now. You start paying guys more. That's what got Chicago. We looking at our contracts now. We don't want bad contracts if we're not contending for a championship. You go into the luxury tax, that hampers what you can do in terms of trades, first apron, second apron, and things like that. And if we were close, if we were knocking at the door, Vivek, open up that wallet, make it happen. But we're so far away from where we want to be championship-wise, going into the tax and exceeding the first apron will only work against us as we try to build a championship
We need
team.
that flexibility at this point. Drapes, which team in the finals is deeper into the luxury tax right now? OKC or Indiana?
Neither one.
What?
Yep. Neither one. They did it the right way.
Huh.
It's now.
But you can't win without being in the luxury tax.
I didn't think so, Whitey. Guess you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Jeremy joins us, Sacktown Sports. Hello, Jeremy. What's up?
What's up, guys?
Hey.
Good to talk to you today.
Yeah.
What's up now?
Hey, so I'm just thinking about the whole discussion with the point guards, Domas, DeMar, all this stuff that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
And I'm thinking right now is the problem with Domas in this office, he doesn't really fit with DeMar. Domas' superpower is the ball goes through him. So on that side of the ball, you don't really need a point guard in the starting lineup if, Domas is the one that's facilitating. You can have a guy Fonses wasn't a true point guard, really, and we lost. We do still need a point guard. I do think that we still need a point guard. We don't got a point guard on the roster, so you got to have one for sure. And Domas can't be on the floor 48 minutes. But I think that was the problem, and I was really actually excited when we signed DeMar, but I think I was wrong, and I think the country, a lot of the writers were right about signing him is not a really good fit because we changed the offense. So, but I still think, like I said, that we could trade him or he can come off the bench, but I don't think he's coming off the bench. So anyways, that's my thoughts on the situation.
Thank you, Jeremy. That's an interesting point. I think, Drapes, I could have both. And Jeremy did say, if you have a point guard and you run everything through them, you're kind of negating Domas's superpower. That's the way he put it. I think I could have both. I think I could still run some of my offense through Domas and still have a really good point guard.
I'm trying to think of other teams that sort of, look at Houston. They got Fred VanVleet and Şengün. They run a lot through Şengün.
Mm-hmm.
And so in today's NBA, Whitey, too, I believe you need multiple creators.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one guy setting everybody up. I think the issue with the Sacramento Kings this past season, we had too many finishers, and not enough starters, guys that can actually run the offense. And so, you look at a guy like Zach, he can pass the ball, but he's more of a finisher. He's not I'm going to set up Domas on this pick and roll, or I'm going to make
that a little bit.
They tried it. Yeah. My thing is, who do we have on our team that makes life easier for the other guys on the team? Malik makes it easier for Domas. Domas sort of makes it easier, but I need DeMar, I need Zach, or somebody to set up other people. We don't have that right now. We got a lot of ISO guys or one-on-one guys that can get theirs, but do we have enough? And I look at Indiana and everybody says, well, they got Tyrese. Well, your boy Nembhard can also be a facilitator.
Yep.
I've seen Pascal pass easily out of a double team. I've seen Miles Turner, in some of their offense, and so we don't have enough creators off the dribble for others, I don't think, on our team.
You just touched on the biggest issue with DeMar, and I think, was it Jeremy mentioned it as well, and that is so often last year down the stretch of games, and DeMar was good at it, but it was ISO DeMar. And yes, he was at times he was good at it. I know Ramsey just a few moments ago came in and he was referencing that win over Dallas where DeMar won the game.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like they weren't built that way. So when it came to that, the offense bogged down. So even when DeMar was doing that well, it seemed like everything slowed down for everyone else. They weren't built around that.
Right,
so even
right.
though that's the way he plays and has always played, and he's really good at it, it didn't fit everything else. So that you have to sort that out one way or the other.
Yeah, but I'll also say too, we knew that going in, right?
Yes,
like that, which
yes,
makes the
sir.
signing like, what are we doing? And I believe DeMar was brought here to be the finisher. Then, De'Aaron Fox gets traded, Domas hurt. Now the ball is in his hands way more than I think anybody expected.
Yeah. Now I thought, and I don't know that they ever actually said this, we talked about it on the show, the Kings 2 years ago, they shot so many threes and the percentage came down. I think they were mid-pack, third in attempts and middle of the pack in percentage. So I remember us saying, well, this gives you a plan B.
Right.
When you're just shooting threes and missing them, now you have DeMar.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where that's all they did.
Right. But the problem, too, is adding DeMar, we weren't even good at our plan A, Whitey.
Right.
Last 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
last year plan A. We don't have a plan A.
We don't have a plan A. And even before DeMar got here, the Fox Sabonis running that offense, 46 wins, we flamed out on that.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't even good at that. And then we bring in DeMar to be our second option. And so you couldn't really count on anything. I will say this about DeMar, Zach, the issue, and these are great basketball players. DeMar is a Hall of Famer. But I feel like at times our guys are looking to pass because they can't get a shot off. It's like the last resort. It's like, all right, I'm going one-on-one. Oh, man, I'm double teamed. All right, I guess I'll pass.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of looking to set up the teammate, looking to make the easy basketball play, we don't have enough guys that's saying, because all our guys think, our star guys think, I could beat my man one-on-one. I can get it. But that's not always the best way to play basketball, Whitey. And so we need guys, and that's why you get a point guard. That's why you get a Chris Paul who understands the first shot ain't necessarily the best shot, And so we need somebody. This is why I don't think Tyus Jones is the answer. To say, no, Zach, I'm not giving it to. That's not the matchup, or that's not your spot. Or no, DeMar, I'm not giving it. We need a strong presence at that point guard spot.
To your point, we know that Indiana especially, and Oklahoma City, great passing teams, they will hurt you. They will hurt your defense with their passing. They will pass the ball in such a way as to compromise your defense. At the very least, if not score a layup, take advantage of you being out of position, force rotations. The Kings last year, so often, the passes they made were all resets. So you'd have drive, reset, and then the next pass would actually go backwards. So the passes where you weren't compromising the defense at all. It's almost like, all right, that didn't work. Hold on. And they actually were like a football team that was losing yardage too often last year.
How much of that do you blame on? Because Doug has talked about coach at three different teams. The season was like, who are we? Like, the Mike Brown version, the De'Aaron Fox version, the post. Like, and so to your point about that, I think we were gumbo, hot, like just, goulash, everything thrown in the pot. Like we didn't have any one thing we did.
I think a lot of that started even before Doug took over.
Yeah, I think
it just
so.
kind of got worse.
Right.
Exacerbated.
Exactly.
How about JR here at Sacktown Sports? Fasten in here for JR. What's up, JR? How are you?
Hey, I like the we were gumbo. That's a good analogy there.
You like that?
We were just throw it all in the pot, put a little sausage, some beans, some shrimp.
And sometimes, JR, it didn't taste. Yeah, sometimes it didn't taste very good, did it?
Once in a while, it tastes good, and you're like, yes, I'm ready to believe in it. And then the next day it tastes terrible because it's been sitting out all day.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm so glad the A's went for that second touchdown instead of the field goal to pull off the win today.
Yeah, how about that?
You
need that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with all this Kings talk, I mean, the one question we have is why do the Padres suck so bad?
So bad that they are ahead of the Giants? Is that really that bad?
We swept them. Hey, we swept them in the last 2 games.
Of a 4-game set. Yeah. Where were you when the Padres beat them 7 in a row? Did I come after you? Did I text you? Did I nothing? And here you are. You win 2 games in a row, and here I hear from you. Yeah.
It's what you've done lately, and then put Drapes. It's the eye test. The eye test today proved it. The eye test today proved the Giants just better. And just a better team, better quality.
They got a new outfielder. He's from Vallejo, so I can't complain about that.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? Hey, real quick on that, Carlson's coming to town tomorrow with Baltimore. You know that?
Oh,
Dylan?
is he really from Elk Grove?
Yeah, our boy
really?
just played for Jeff, the coach. He's got back up into the lineup, and he'll be a local boy playing in West Sac. That's kind of cool.
Drapes might go out this weekend to see the A's and the O's.
You're gonna wear something. You're gonna wear something that we can notice, or what are you gonna wear?
I'll probably wear a Kings jersey out there, something like that.
Attaboy. You're the man.
I'll represent.
All right, man.
Thanks, JR.
Talk to you soon.
All right,
Appreciate
now.
it. Yeah, and that's not confirmed. It's a possibility that Drapes.
Yeah, that's not confirmed yet. You know, after the show tomorrow, I might go out there. I might go out there.
Drapes up here like he playing spades, 4 in the possible about going out to the Orioles game tomorrow.
I ain't got nothing to do on a Friday night. I don't have the kids tomorrow. Your boy's out there, nothing to do.
Get to say his actual winning streak going. How about that?
You know what, too? I need to go out there to see for myself. Because Whitey's been, can I call it negative about the?
Yes, I said
all
it's
right.
been a failure.
So I need to see
negative.
for myself. I've been in major league ballparks. I've been in some of them. So I'll let you know how I feel after I go out there.
Yeah, the final today.
14-3.
14-3 Athletics over Minnesota.
Offense has not been a problem.
Not too much. Not as much as the bullpen.
Yeah,
that's why it was 11-0 or 11-1, and you're like, I don't know.
I know. Dude, I looked up the numbers. The bullpen's ERA, I think, was like 6.2 or something like that.
Oh, it came down.
Yeah. Horrible, man. Horrible.
Not today, though. Yeah. Our who's the point guard of the day next on Sacktown Sports.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
I had the chance to interview former professional golfer and broadcaster Gary McCord a few years back. He hadn't yet enraged the Green Jackets with his television comments about their revered Georgia golf course. He was welcoming and above all humorous, which is why I recently picked up a copy of his book, Golf for Dummies by Gary McCord, a man possessed by golf's magical allure. This 5th edition will help new golfers learn the basics of the game and bring them, as he writes, from the darkness to the light. The book discusses types of clubs, types of courses, how to hit the ball, and how to keep score. The intent is to help you get the ball to the hole in fewer tries and with better form. You'll even find some basic exercises to get you into golf shape. It's a fun read and will help you get over some of the game's intimidation while getting you ready to visit the golf course on your own or with some friends. I always recommend a good PGA professional to guide you along the way, but Golf for Dummies is a fun way to approach a fun game. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
a candidate. It's one of those, this job's open. I'm not interested. I'm taking my name out of that. Bro, you weren't even considered. So
I think he was on a Yankee telecast or something.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, it was a Yankees broadcast.
Someone asked him, he's like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't think he's going back to the NBA.
I did see something somewhere, but I think it was pretty sketchy with a picture of Mike Brown. And I think someone asked Mike Brown, Luke Walton, something about the Knicks job, but I don't think
really. Nah. I think that sounds sketchy.
Yeah,
that sounds sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, did you hear this? I'm on social media right now. Awful announcing. This was 4 hours ago. Minnesota hockey fans missed Oilers OT winner last night due to the EAS emergency test.
Oh,
Can you imagine? Game 7 of the finals.
That's really bad. I can't.
10 seconds left in the game. Stand by for a test of the emergency alert system. Oh, that's awesome. I'm sorry, Minnesota fan. That's terrible. I mean, nothing you could do about it, but come on. Mm-hmm. That's hilarious. Oh, my gosh.
I don't even know. They should be able to sue.
Right. Who do you sue? The government or something?
Yeah.
Right.
Get in line, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Another thing, real quick, White. I know you got your rundown, but hold up here.
No, I wasn't even getting the rundown yet. I was going to get to Aaron Rodgers, but go ahead.
I guess Rick Carlisle began his press conference today with a impassioned defense of Doris Burke.
Really?
There's been a lot of stuff being said about Doris Burke recently. People not liking her, fan bases hating her. The free throw merchant reports that she's out after this. And so Rick Carlisle started his press conference by saying how much of a trailblazer Doris Burke was. And so shout out to Rick Carlisle. Carlisle wanted a good dude from I don't know if I ever told you. Pacers come to town. Rick Carlisle's still one of those coaches that actually warms up his players, works out. Like, he'll get out there and toss the ball.
He's an old player. He's an NBA player.
And he comes up to me, Kyle, how you doing? I'm like, oh, hey, coach. He's like, I'm a huge fan of your work, man. I watch you.
Wow.
And I was like, really? And so it's like a visiting coach actually,
How is he not your guy? How are you not rooting for the Pacers?
I just remembered that story. So now I am because a lot of people behind the scenes of OKC, they're my people, but Rick Carlisle, he's a class act.
That's great.
Yeah. Like, seriously, you never hear that. I mean, at least I do. I don't ever hear that. Like a visiting coach where, in the corner at Golden One Center, and he comes up and we're talking. Hey,
maybe
Kyle,
he thought you were Kyle Ledbetter.
No, shoot.
Is that possible?
Zero chance of that. I didn't have funky pants on or anything like that. But no, it's
a cell shirt and
purple pants. But no, Rick Carlisle, man, class act. And then, like I said, he reminds me a lot too of Steve Kerr in this regard. You don't have to ask him about whatever the issue is. They'll come out right from the jump and give us their opinion on it. So shout out to him, man.
One thing I like about both those guys, and they're not the only ones, but isn't Rick Carlisle actually the chairman, or he's been the head of a coaches coalition or something? I love the coaches that really look out for the whole fraternity.
The collective. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. No, good dude, man. And I might be rooting for the Pacers now.
I couldn't blame you.
Yeah. My guy.
Is Rick Carlisle your guy because he used to play for the Celtics back in the day?
Nah, because I wasn't the Celtics. That was 80s Celtics. He played in the 1980s. I was a Lakers fan. Hated Rick Carlisle, Larry Bird, ML Carr with the towel and all that. Hated all those guys.
Your guy Cornbread.
Cedric Cornbread, Maxwell.
Rick Carlisle played against Jordan in the ACC.
He did, huh? Where did he go to school?
I think he went to Virginia.
Virginia. Okay. All right. No, that's he's my guy now, though.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah. And I wasn't a fan when he was in Dallas because him and Rondo butted heads and everything. And Rondo was my guy from Boston.
You kind of buried that deep in your subconscious.
I did. You see how easy it is to become my guy, though? All you got to do is say something nice to me. And, Drapes, I like that tie. My guy, thank you. And then
but somebody of that magnitude, anybody would be, whoa.
Yeah, that was pretty good, man.
Like, I told you earlier today, I'm a big Victor guy because Victor was the guy delivering stuff here. And he's like, I listen to you guys all the
Right.
time. Tell Drapes I said, hey.
And now he's your guy, right? That's how it goes.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my guy when it comes to the Kings' potential point guard need. We've talked about him, so this is nothing new. Drapes, is there any way that I honestly, realistically, actually can bring back Davion Mitchell? Restricted free agent. You look at the list of free agent point guards, he's on the list. Had a resurgence last year. Once he left Toronto, went to Miami. So I asked you a question. Is there any way realistically the Kings could pursue him? I don't know that they have interest. I something about bringing him back, righting the wrong. I love that.
Does he
idea.
fit your criteria? He's going to be 27 in September, Whitey. It's a little old for you.
He's
a little long in the tooth.
But he's
right.
He
Not much
belongs
length.
here. I love how he worked on his shot, made himself a legitimate three-point threat. I love the way he took over the Miami offense. Close to, I'd say, to me, we're talking about a pure point guard.
I'm looking at his numbers, and I'm going to go even deeper, but in Miami, 30 games, started 15, 10.3 points, 5.3 assists.
But you know that those numbers don't tell the whole story because he had a stretch there where he was scoring a lot better now.
That's why I want to go even deeper. I want to look at his numbers as a starter. How about that in Miami? As a starter in Miami, hold up, sorry, because they got his Toronto numbers in there, and I don't want that. All right, as a starter in Miami, interesting, Whitey. It's not even as a starter. He had a game April 7th against Philly. He played 35 minutes off the bench. 20 points, 5 assists. I'm sorry, it was the game before against Milwaukee.
Yeah.
He played 39 minutes off the bench, Whitey.
And he had a big shooting night, didn't he? Not just scoring a lot, but didn't he have a game or two where his shot
threes
was extremely well? High percentage.
He was 8 of 15 in that Milwaukee game. I'm looking at the playoffs. He scored 18, 18, 16, and 8. That first playoff game against Cleveland, they got pasted, but he was 8 of 12, 18 points, 9 assists.
Yeah, 8 of 12.
There's something there, man. There's something there. I'm with you. I'm with you. And somebody from the 530, love Davion. We win game 7 if Brown plays him instead of TD. That Jeff says that. And so now you're saying bring him in as your starter.
Yes. I mean, bring him in, and then obviously I don't know who else would be my starting point guard right now. Certainly give him a chance at that. Last year, you're in $6.4 million, restricted free agent. Maybe Miami is determined to keep him no matter what, but I might be willing to go a little overboard, Drapes, to discourage them from keeping him since they have that right.
You giving him the full mid-level? Starting 14.1? That's a lot of money.
Right now, I probably would. I'm not saying that.
Damn, we desperate. Here's why I'm against it at that price.
Okay.
Because if you do that, you're not doing that just for 1 year. You're tied to him for 3-4 years, Whitey, as your starting point guard.
Maybe.
Are there better options out there? Are there shorter term options until you find your guy?
By the way, let's just say that you did that and he was your starting point guard. That amount of money for a starting point guard, that would be a good deal. Would it not?
Yeah,
that's pretty
million.
good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah. What would you be willing to offer him? And maybe nothing.
A 3-year 30, maybe 2 and 20, 10 million a year, probably I'd go up to.
He might want to sign something shorter, right? The way his game took off last year.
His arc, yeah.
Yeah.
Would he come back to Boston? I mean, Sacramento here, though.
Here's my question for you after asking that. Do you feel that he was stifled here by the previous regime under Mike Brown?
Where you been at, Ramsey? We done talked about that for 6 months on this show.
And that's why he would come back. Right. That's the answer.
And had a chance to flourish being in the Miami system. with Spoelstra having a chance to open his wings.
Yeah, maybe, and it depends. I have no idea what his relationship was with Doug. Maybe if he got along great with Doug and Doug was sympathetic to that, maybe he would come back, but I'm just guessing.
Yeah. I think he would. I think Doug's a Davion guy. Doug likes those kind of players, tough, hard-nosed, puts in the work. That's the one thing about Davion. You never got to question, him being in the gym. And so I'm going to check with somebody now and see what they think about Davion and the fit here in Sacramento.
We know that Evan Sittery, it was Michael Scotto, pardon me, and he was on today with Alan and Kyle, and he said they have some other point guards on their radar. The only name I can mention is Jones here, but look at some of these names. Trey Mann. Ben Simmons gets talked about. Campaign's not a bad player.
Yeah, he's all right.
Delano Banton, who's 6'9" and just has no interest whatsoever in playing defense, or just not capable.
Right.
So there's guys out there, and it doesn't take long before you realize there's a lot of guys on here that we should not have any interest in. Bless them. Wish you the best.
Right. And from what some of those names, it's slim pickings out there. It's slim, and so Davion is ahead of any of those guys you just mentioned, in my opinion.
Delano Banton, 6'9".
Yeah, but I don't feel like he's really a true point guard.
Personally, I wouldn't want nothing to do with Delano Banton after he had the Delano Banton game here, not the end of this season, but last season when he went 0 of 15 for 3 in that final game at Golden One Center.
Yes, and adding insult to injury, he thought Colby Jones was Chris Duarte.
Yeah, he was going,
and he committed a flagrant.
He was going after some sort of light-skinned Kings player. He didn't care who it was. He was going after everybody.
When the year after that, the basketball cards came out, and Panini mixed up the two, I thought, all right.
Panini mixed up?
Yeah.
Duarte and Kobe?
Yes.
Shut up.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So it's a Chris Duarte card with Kobe Jones on it or something like that?
Which way it is, but yeah. And I don't know that they ever corrected it.
Dude, that's a collector's item. Man, I'd love to get my hands on one of those.
Yeah. I know a guy that might be able to help you out.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Yeah. Half off, hopefully.
Well, of course.
Draper special.
It does sound like a lot of fans, and I know a lot of it is sentimental, and I'm right there with you, would be pro Davion. You want to win back this fan base, Drapes.
Bring Davion. And then acquire Tyrese in the trade, too, while you at it, right? Bring them all back, All
right, so Drapes is going to text some people. We'll see what comes back. And we'll answer the question, how much does home court advantage really matter in the NBA Finals? Next on Sacktown Sports.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet?
RV wins!
Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach?
RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
Trey Songz, live. All the hits, all in one night. Trey Songz. Friday, June 20th, the venue at Thunder Valley. With special guest, Jeremiah. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com and see the show. Trey Songz, Friday, June 20th, the venue at Thunder Valley.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests, Mitchell Tenpenny, Low Cash, Vincent Mason, and Avery-Anna. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra. Tickets are available now at CITPFest.com.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, looking for something positive in the midst of a dismal stretch for the A's, center fielder Denzel Clark, finishing his second weekend in the big leagues and playing in his hometown of Toronto, went 4 for 9 with a home run in the last 3 games of the series and also made a sensational Spider-Man leaping catch over the wall in center field, robbing Alejandro Kirk of a home run. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. It's how retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And it's how healthcare offices become data-managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Drive, guys. Pardon me one moment here. I apologize. I just had this up. I wanted to show Kyle Draper the picture of the Colby Jones basketball card that was actually Chris Duarte. And I think Panini did that with a number of their cards. They got them mixed up.
That's unbelievable. So do you blame Delano Ben?
I can't.
I mean, Panini is doing it, Let me see. Hold up.
That's one of them. But, yeah. Colby Jones.
Dude, I got to get
NBA
that.
Select.
Oh, look at that. That's somebody, $300, somebody say? Come on, Whitey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I'd pay that.
Yeah,
but that's not the only one. There are a handful of them. Apparently, whoever was doing it really thought Duarte was Colby Jones.
What you search on there? Just Colby Jones, Chris Duarte? How'd you find it?
How did I find that? Yeah, I think that's all I searched. I found a better one a minute ago, but that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's solid. I might be interested in that.
Mm-hmm. And that's your guy, right? I don't know about Colby, but
Chris Duarte is my guy. I miss Chris Duarte. Good dude, nice guy, good family, wife and everything. Yeah, I miss Chris Duarte.
Mm-hmm. From the 530 here, we're talking about point guards. We're starting our segment, Who's the Point? From the 530, would you be in on Ben Simmons as a Kings starting point guard? Let's just take emotion out of it, Drapes. Nope.
I'll sum it up for you. Hell to the no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. A lot of people have that knee-jerk reaction. There's no way. But if you just try to be rational about it, no thanks.
And I agree 100% with you guys. The player doesn't fit. He's not the same. No. Ben Simmons, no. But when I first saw that text, I thought to myself, if people are going to start bringing what Carmichael Dave says in the morning to our show, we just got to ignore it. Any kind of idea or player Carmichael Dave throws out and is high on, I don't want it brought on this show. We got to put a moratorium on Ben Simmons.
I must say this in defense of Carmichael Dave.
Yeah.
Carmichael Dave has been one of Ben Simmons is his guy. Let me put it that way. Has been historically. I don't think he has mentioned Ben Simmons once this.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
this,
yeah.
All right.
And I heard, they had Frankie and Chris and Brendan were on with Alan Stiles today, and they were talking about that. They were talking about Ben Simmons, and I think, was it Frankie? Somebody said, Carmichael Dave has now mentioned Ben Simmons.
Oh, good. All right. So, I thought this guy heard it today, and then, hey, how about this Ben Simmons guy? Hell no.
Got to give him the benefit of the doubt on that.
I forget what Philly reporter said it about a year or two ago, but Benjamin No-J Simmons?
Benjamin No-J Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, did the Clippers even have him playing point guard this year?
Nah, he was playing power forward, I believe.
He was bringing the ball up from time to time, but it wasn't heavy because they were using Harden more so is the point than he was maybe doing it from 8 to 10 minutes when Harden was out of the game. That was about it.
Thank you, Campy. Campy says, Carmichael Dave is not promoting Ben Simmons. I had a talk with him.
Good. So thank you, Campy. Appreciate you, man. Let's close the chapter on that.
Epic Airby says, I think Davion's game has improved. He tends to pass up shots on the Heat. He didn't do that here, so maybe I'm willing to
Is he at the top of your tier? Out of all those names you listed there, the Mans and is he your number one free agent?
He is.
Damn.
Yeah.
More so than my boy Dennis Schroeder.
Yes. And you don't believe me probably, but I've been a Schroeder guy since the day he was drafted.
Yeah, I just feel like you're kind of lukewarm on him lately. You're kind of down on Schroeder lately.
He's a shoot first point guard. That's my issue with him as a point guard. The day he was drafted, I was watching the draft, and I think the Hawks drafted him. There's Dennis Schroeder from Germany, and they showed him, and I was like, that guy's great. Just the moment of something about how quick he was or something. So I've always been a Schroeder guy. I just don't know that he fills the need right now, but I love Schroeder. He's always been on the all-whitey team.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I don't know if you'd want to hear that, but yes.
I got a name for you fellas, but it would probably be more via trade. What are your thoughts on Jordan Clarkson?
We'd rather have Colin Sexton.
Yeah, I think
Jordan
so.
Clarkson. At least I would. Jordan Clarkson to me is a 6-man at best now.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a starter in this league, I don't think.
He brings a lot to the party, but I just think what he would bring to the party, I either don't need or already have.
Right. Exactly. He's a scorer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not necessarily a facilitator. I'm looking at the free agent point guards, and somebody brought it up. Any interest in Russell Westbrook?
Nope. I think that'd be a huge mistake. I'll tell you what I love about Jordan Clarkson, though.
Oh, okay.
Jordan Clarkson, what were they talking about? They were, I think it was out of the pandemic. They were talking about opening the arena up to fans again or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a reporter, we've talked about this, a reporter from a TV station, and she's at the arena and she's talking to people about how often do you come to the game? And she's talking to Jordan Clarkson and doesn't know it's him.
That was him.
How often do you go to the games? He's like, I'm here pretty much every game.
He played along, right? He played along with it.
Yes.
Yeah, he played along. I'm looking at the full free agent point guard list on Spotrac. There's nobody out there, Whitey. It is slim pickings. One guy that, how about this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're doing one a day, but I'm going to throw him out.
Want to save him tomorrow? That's fine. Bust him out.
Malcolm Brogdon.
He's hurt too much.
Yeah.
He's just, that milk is, open it up. I don't think so.
Malcolm Brogdon. How many games did he play this year? Let me pull it up. 24 games. Man, he's been.
Yeah, you got Domas, you got Malcolm Brogdon. Go get Oladipo. What's he doing?
The old school Pacers.
Yeah, bring him back.
Exactly. All right, so no Malcolm Brogdon. All right.
You really think so?
No, I'm just saying, if he was healthy, I could see it.
People have been talking about him as a fit for the Kings at point guard for a couple of years.
Well, his problem, like you said, he played 24 games this year, 39 the season before that, 67, 36, 56, 54, like never healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie of the year, 6th man of the year, Whitey.
And he was a second-round pick, right? A rookie of the year who was a...
Yeah, he was a second-round pick.
Second-round pick, 36th overall, yep. And won 6th man of the year with the Celtics, and they couldn't wait to get rid of him.
Then he had like his shoulder, I remember, got hurt.
Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm. I wish. How much does home court advantage matter in the NBA Finals? Here's the thing. 56 of 77 teams with home court have won the title.
56 of
77 teams with home court have won the title. Some of that's home court. Some of it's also the best teams get home court. So some of it's because they're the better team no matter where you play. 59 teams with home court won game 1, 59 of 77. And if it gets to a game 7, the home team has won 15 of 19. So it sounds like, it makes a big difference. One of the reasons I bring it up is this year, home court doesn't seem to matter as much as it used to. So I wonder if it matters as much in the finals.
Yeah.
And, the Pacers have that nasty habit of going into other teams' buildings to start these playoff series. Yes.
Yeah, we saw it happen with New York, Milwaukee. No, I don't think it really does. Because I feel like these players nowadays, they embrace that. We've seen it here in Sacramento. Home court doesn't matter here for us. I think players enjoy being on the road, enjoy being the villain, enjoy having the whole city, the whole stadium. I know Tyrese Halliburton enjoys that. And so, I don't think it matters as much. In game 7, maybe just because guys get tighter and stuff like that. But no, I don't think it matters as much.
Especially, and we've seen this here, one of the theories is that home court doesn't matter as much because if you're making a ton of threes, it negates home court. Some people say, nah, that's not true. But I think it's been a factor here. The Kings have been just getting obliterated by the other team from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a home court advantage when the other team is, 18 for 25 from the 3-point line.
I would love to look this up real quick. What teams shoot at Golden One Center against the Kings versus what they shoot in their home arena against the Kings? Because it seemed like every time somebody comes here, Orlando set their franchise record in our building on the road. And so
in the midst of a season in which they didn't shoot the ball very well from three.
Exactly. And so that's mystifying to me. And maybe some gyms are, better to shoot at than others because of the lighting and everything like that. But no, I think more, like you said, the best team usually has home court.
Right.
And then that's why they win.
Yeah. Have you ever heard this? Apparently a lot of the analytics people say that a team's 3-point defense, it's like whether the team makes threes or not, it doesn't have that much to do with defense. Now, I don't agree with that.
Really?
Yes, that's I'll find it for you. I think maybe that's becoming a little outdated, but there is a school of thought in analytics. It's like either it goes in or it doesn't, and it really doesn't have that much to do with the way the team defends a 3-point line. But I've seen it here in Sacramento. It has a lot to do with how the team defends or doesn't defend the 3-point line.
Yeah, I just don't understand, the premise of that. It's why focus on 3-point defense then?
Yeah.
I can't see. I don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. And a big part of defense in the NBA is just trying to take away the shots that the other team wants to take.
Right. Exactly. Trying to, like you said, take away the shots, trying to make life harder for them, getting them to do something they don't want to do, out of their comfort zone, if you will.
We'll continue our glance at the finals when we come back. The Pacers are big underdogs. They apparently love that. Next on Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Valley Strong Credit Union, we know that local businesses are the backbone of the Central Valley, investing in our neighborhoods, boosting the economy, making the Valley stronger. But when it comes to their finances, where can they turn? A big bank that just sees another number? That's not good enough. Valley businesses deserve Valley support for payroll, credit, cash flow, and everything in between. Valley Business is Valley Strong. Learn how our cash management services can support your business at valleystrong.com.
Did you know addiction to drugs like meth or cocaine is a disease and not a choice? But getting help is. If you have stimulant use disorder, you, your family, and friends may have a lot of questions, including where to start. Choose Change California can help. Make a change today and find a proven treatment option for you at choosechangeca.org.
Whitey here for Napoleon Grills, reminding you that when buying a new grill, every detail matters. While supplies last, you'll receive a $149 gift with purchase on every new Napoleon Prestige stainless steel grill. The kit even includes a pizza lover starter kit and much more. And now up to $79 off Napoleon Rogue models. Napoleon grills are built different, built better, built to last, with a lifetime warranty and premium steel that boasts amazing quality. Visit Green Acres Nursery today for your best selection of Napoleon grills and accessories.
Hi, Sacramento. It's the No Surprise guys at Bell Brothers Plumbing and Air Conditioning. Need a new water heater? Call Bell Brothers. Need a free plumbing estimate? Call Bell Brothers. Have a clogged drain? Call Bell Brothers and we'll unclog it for only $67, plus free camera inspection, valued at $250. We don't guess at plumbing and drain problems. We used advanced camera inspections and diagnostics. We're fast, reliable, and respect your time by showing up when we say we will. The price we quote is the price you pay. With more technicians, more trucks, and more experience, we get the job done right the first time. No surprises. Our technicians are all background checked, drug tested, and will leave the work area cleaner than they found it. Don't wait. Call Bell Brothers today or book online at nosurpriseguys.com. That's nosurpriseguys.com.
KHD HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Live and local, it's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Pacers, big underdogs. They seem to love it. It's the Drive Guys getting ready for the NBA Finals. By the way, that concludes Who's the Point for today. I mentioned that because tomorrow, Drapes, when you were getting your pretzels, Ramsey and I decided who we're talking about tomorrow on Who's the Point. And Ramsey and I are split on it. There's actually a couple guys. We'll get to at least one of them tomorrow. This is a very important and complicated decision for the Kings. So I think you'll enjoy our conversation tomorrow. I'm anxious. I actually don't know how you feel about this.
Free agent guy, trade target,
free agent.
All right, I don't want to know anymore.
He's a free agent.
I don't want to know anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait till tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like surprised. Like I don't want to give it no pregame thought, pre-show thought, or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to mention this guy.
You've probably already thought about it in some way, shape, or form, but I'm anxious to see what you think. I'm out. But
You're out on this guy?
I'm out.
Okay.
Ramsey is like, maybe. Right, Ramsey? Aren't you like, maybe?
It's a maybe, but at the same time, it would be a stopgap in my thought process.
Yeah, which is the issue with a lot of these guys. And, of course, it is. Good point guards are, teams like to hang on to them. They're not readily available typically.
So Miami's just going to let our boy Davion, go right back to
That's
Sacramento.
why I'm willing to pay a lot to get him.
Oh, my God.
It's going to cost a lot to get him. Otherwise, I don't get him.
Okay. All right. So we may have to overpay for the guy we want. You're willing to do that?
Well, maybe in current market terms, but on the other hand, if I get him and he's a starting point guard for a few years, I got him at a bargain price.
Okay. All right. I'm not against Davion.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I texted my source.
Yeah.
Asking him about Davion. Would love to have him back.
Okay.
But I doubt Miami lets him go.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have some elite perimeter defenders.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind having him.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like he fits.
Yep.
But is he enough size in that backcourt?
He's 6. He's listed at 6.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Why?
Yeah. And even, Colin Sexton's not big. He's listed at 6'3".
Sexton is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, your numbers may vary, but officially, yeah. So Davion, and if a guy's listed at 6 Drapes, he's probably not 6. Right?
No, he's probably, 5'10".
Right.
5'10 and a half, 6 with shoes on.
Yeah.
How about this one, Whitey? 209. Lodi. What's more important, point guard or finding a good power forward fit with Domas?
I think point guard because he has the ball more. They're both important.
Okay.
But I think point guard's more important, don't you?
Yes, I think it's more important.
Well, they're both important.
Yeah, but I'm of the belief with the 209 is asking what you're saying. I don't think Keegan at the 4. I'd rather him move to the 3 and have a Bobby Portis or somebody else at the 4. Or move Domas to the 4 and have a Porzingis or a Miles Turner type, if you will, at the 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
UPS Chris, hold up.
Yes.
Because this is an important point, UPS Chris says. Didn't we just dump Davion for salary, and now we want him back and overpay for him?
Well, I didn't dump him, and the people that dumped him aren't here anymore.
And the people that dumped him probably made a mistake, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, UPS Chris, yes. What we're saying is, we do want him back. And a little bit of overpay. I just think Miami wouldn't let him. He was one of the bright spots for Miami. And listening to all the coverage and everybody, how many times did they say, oh, he's perfect for Miami? That's a perfect fit down there in Miami.
Right.
And so I think, they're going to pony up too to re-sign him.
How many point guards we're going to draft
and
high
let go
in lottery and then let them go to other teams who say, we love this guy. That, by the way, and we've talked about this a lot, of course, but that's why I have no interest whatsoever in trading Devin Carter. Every so often, a potential trade will come up, and this guy and DeMar, and you get this guy, and you trade Devin Carter. Nope, I do not want to trade Devin Carter. And I'm not saying he's going to be a great player. I don't know if he's going to be as good as Davion. He's not going to be as good as Tyrese Halliburton, but I don't know how good he's going to be, and I got a lot of equity in him, and I don't want to trade him. I need to get younger, and I need improved defense, and he at least gives me that.
So hold up. I just want to make sure I hear you clearly. Does the Tyrese, Davion, and ultimately De'Aaron impact your thoughts on Devin Carter and whether you were trading him?
Not really.
I was about to say, that's loser's mentality.
It's just common sense. But, yeah, I see what you're saying. But if I need to get younger, and I think I do, maybe not everyone agrees. Maybe Scott Perry doesn't feel that way. And I've got a guy that had up and down years, showed some flashes last year. I'm just in no hurry to trade that guy.
I'm in no hurry until I know for sure.
Yes.
And half a season isn't enough time.
Right.
I probably need,
especially when he's coming off the bad win.
I probably need a full season, maybe even more. So I'm with you. I'm not now. I will say this. Let's say, for instance, who's a point guard out there that might be available? Let's say
D'Angelo Russell.
Nah. I'm talking to somebody that's a little bit higher up on the. Let's say Nembhard was available. Your guy.
Yeah.
But the Pacers said, we got to have Devin Carter.
Done. Because he's not as young.
Why do you mean?
Done.
So it just depends on the guy.
Right.
Everybody's tradable, right? Depends on what I'm getting back.
I don't want to, people talk about some of these trades and there's like, and Davion, almost like and Devin Carter, almost like he's a throw-in.
Yeah.
I have no interest in like tacking him into a deal to make something happen.
Okay.
Now, if I get a young player like Nembhard, why do you do that? Why do you tease me like that?
I'm just saying.
They're not getting Nembhard.
I had to make it hard for you, different, because I wanted to see. You're like, I'm no interest to rush to trade Devin Carter. But
right,
if the right player came along,
I allowed myself to get a little halfway excited about Nembhard's brother. He's 5'10".
I know.
And he just had a really nice
like
workout against the Warriors.
He's just
like, no, that's not going to work.
Another Nembhard's coming out. Yeah. Yeah. How about this guy? And this is totally out of left field.
Okay.
This is it's not even a point guard.
Tyler Soderstrom, out of left field.
Right. Big game hunting. Two guys, Mikal Bridges and or Karl Anthony Towns.
Now, what am I talking about now? I'm
possible trade. If the Knicks decide, let's say Mikal Bridges doesn't fit in. He seems to not fit in New York. Any interest in that? And you're not giving up 5 first-rounders for him. Like, the price is way down
So
now.
I'm getting one or the other, right? And I'd probably have to trade Domas?
I think you'd have to trade Domas if you wouldn't
Not for
pick
Mikal,
up
though. For Cat, let's say. Like, if New York is like, this Cat thing, Knicks media is out on Cat, his defense and all that. Any interest at all in putting together a package for
a little
Karl
bit of interest.
Anthony Towns?
Yeah. I mean, if they called, I wouldn't hang up on them.
Okay. All right.
How about you?
No, I think I would too. I think Cat's a really good player. And I know he got roasted for his defense and he has to get better at that. But man, when he's locked in, like he was good at times in that Pacers series, 20 points in the fourth quarter and everything like that. Yeah, I kicked the tires. It's just if a team is looking to blow it up a little bit or make some moves, what about Julius Randle, Minnesota? I think he has a player option, if I'm correct.
I've never been as high on him as a lot of people.
Okay.
And I think we saw in the playoffs a little up and down. The thing about Cat is defensively he's not good. Teams attack him, and it turns out it's worse than we thought. If the stories are true that say his teammates didn't understand what he was doing.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you're not very mobile defensively, but when you're doing the wrong coverages and your teammates are wondering what you're doing, How about getting a center that actually could defend? How about that? Can we try that, maybe?
Who's that guy?
I don't know.
I got a question about Cat. Has he overcome especially from what Jimmy Butler said about him in Minnesota, has he overcome that soft moniker mentality?
I think so.
A little bit. I mean, in all fairness, some of the things he did, especially when he was banged up in the playoffs.
Yeah, I thought he had a hell of a postseason.
He's not a good defender, but I wouldn't say he's softy.
No, he's not
He made
soft.
some big shots.
Here you go. Cat in the postseason this year.
20 points a game, I think.
21.4 points, 11.6 rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty damn good, Whitey. 35% from three. You want that to be higher, but it's postseason. I get it.
Yeah. I don't know. Greeny says Brunson dragged an average team into the conference finals, so.
But those numbers you said almost sound like the same production you get from Domantas Sabonis. So why would you? It's almost, in my opinion, it would almost be a lateral move.
Nah, because one guy can shoot the three at a high clip, and teams actually respect it.
Yeah,
and another guy doesn't.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
The Pacers are huge underdogs, and they are embracing that. Good for them. Indiana, if they win this, they'd be one of the biggest. It'd be one of the biggest upsets in finals history.
Yeah,
we don't think of the Thunder as being, some monolithic brand, but yeah, they're huge favorites in this series.
What's the biggest one, would you think? Pistons over Lakers that year? Perhaps?
Well, it depends if you're talking about the odds before the series starts or the odds before the season started. Yeah. Those we talked about a couple days ago. 2015, the Warriors, they were a pretty big surprise.
Oh, yeah.
But the biggest I've ever seen, just get through it quickly. I don't want to bore people, but in 75, when the Warriors played the Bullets, and the Warriors they weren't supposed to do anything, and they not only won the finals, they swept
them.
Wes Unseld and Phil Chenier and Elvin Hayes. That's the biggest surprise I've ever seen.
And those Blazers, that 77 Blazers team, if I'm correct, wasn't supposed to beat the Sixers. I think Dr. J, you had a World Be Free on that, McGinnis, George McGinnis on that team.
Yeah.
That was a big time.
I was in high school, but I called that game I said, this is 6 games Portland. I nailed it.
Did you really? Yeah. You place any money down? No, right? 5-3-0. Would you pair DeAndre Ayton with Domas? No. Nope.
Why not, Drapes?
No.
Well, first of all, Ayton doesn't defend at all. Like he's a
What happened to him?
Number 1 overall pick.
He was on that Phoenix team that went to the finals and looked like, wow, they got something here.
I don't know what happened. He's a solid offensive player, but he's not engaged at all defensively, and we don't need that, especially alongside Domas. Got a trade proposal here, Whitey.
Trade proposal.
May have to get to it after the timeout.
All right, I can't wait. That's next on Sacktown Sports.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Mentioned the Pacers are underdogs. ESPN says they enter the finals. The Pacers do as one of the biggest long shots in the past 2 decades. Pacers 5-1 underdogs to beat OKC. Longest odds for any team in the finals since the 2004 Pistons, who were also 5-1 against the Lakers. And also OKC, 9.5-point favorites over the Pacers in game 1. The 3rd largest spread for any opening game in the past 35 years. Thunder, by the way, have been favored in every game this postseason.
Wow. Even against Denver, though, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. The betting public has been siding with the Pacers at the long odds to win the series. So a lot of action on the Pacers, even though they're heavy underdogs.
Watching.
Yep. You need something to drink? Yeah. Pretzels took down Drapes.
Down goes Draper. Down goes Draper.
You gotta cut that. You gotta wild track that. Yeah, I knew what happened. I was like, "Are you choking? Are you okay?" Yeah.
You left me out to dry. You hung me out to dry. No, but
You said-
I was over here like this. I was like, Whitey, and you ignored me.
Wait, you looked at the screen. I thought you were gesturing to the screen, so I'm looking, and then you're like,
I'm over here dying on this.
Draper over here, man down, man
And
down.
then I'm out of water in my water bottle. It's kind of dry. I don't have any water in there, man. I'm struggling over here. Oh, the pretzels got me. All right,
Okay.
sorry about that.
"Yeah, that's all right." Good news is you're
Let's
okay.
switch the channel, though, big fella. That's what I was gesturing to. Let's
Oh,
go to
okay.
ESPN, right?
Yeah, there you go. You got to trade for us. You said you promised. A big,
No, it's not my trade. I'm not taking credit for this one.
you teased it.
I'm
You
not
said we
taking
got this big trade that I've been working on coming up.
All right, here you go. I give it to you from the 916. Go for Jaden Ivey. Now, hold up. Kings fans, listen. Break down this trade. Jaden Ivey and Asar Thompson for Sabonis and filler. You can run JV at the 5. There you go.
So I get Jaden Ivey, who a lot of people said I should have taken instead of Keegan.
And one of the best two-way players
and
of
the,
young
and the
up and
lesser
coming.
of the Thompsons.
Yeah, but still, he's
for Sabonis and filler. Yeah.
That's why we need something to happen, man. We need some trades. We need some legitimate news because all these possible. First of all, 916, you didn't put your name on it. Second of all, have you run through the trade machine? I don't even know if that works financially. Why would we have to give up filler? Those two salaries don't eat. They would have to give us filler.
Well, pretzels, you brought it up. What do you think of it?
No, I'm laughing that way. If I'm Detroit, who is it? Who's running things in Detroit? I'm drawing a blank on. I see his Trajan Langdon, right? Isn't he out there in Detroit?
Yeah.
If I'm him, I'm laughing at this deal. I'm not giving up Jaden Ivey and Asar Thompson for, no offense to Domas and aging Domantas Sabonis. No, come on, man. We got to be smarter, Kings fans. I need realistic trade options out here.
Who are the 4 to 6 teams that are interested in Kevin Durant, do you think? This was Shams. So, again, this wasn't, somebody just looking for clicks, although he does that too. And he's
He
good
does
at it.
that too. Yeah.
He says 4 to 6 teams. This was something he
I'll
said
tell you who it
yesterday.
is right now.
Okay.
Do you have those 4 to 6 or no? He just said
he
4 to
didn't
6.
say who they are. I have 4 of them.
All right.
But yeah,
Let
what
me
do
see
you
if
think?
I'm
Yeah. This is and I'm guessing really.
Houston.
Yeah, I would think so.
San Antonio.
Sure.
That might be all I see. It
There's-
might be Dallas, maybe.
There's been reports that the Hawks have talked about it. Again, I'm not saying there you have a chance to get them, but
Okay.
who's interested? And then there was a report that emerged that last season the Knicks
Oh yeah, the
had a
Knicks.
proposal.
Yeah, the Knicks at the deadline apparently had a trade proposal according to reports
Mhm.
out there. How about the Hawks? That's kind of intriguing.
It
Trey
is.
Young and Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Conversations will now begin to pick up on a potential trade of Kevin Durant out of Phoenix over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Conversations will begin to heat up. 4 to 6 teams seriously interested in Durant, potentially ahead of the NBA draft. That was Shams. What
4
do
to
the
6.
Suns want? Have you heard that the Suns, they're adamant. They want a center and they want draft picks.
Draft picks.
It's funny. They traded all their draft picks and now it's like,
Yeah.
we want draft picks.
Yeah, they're trying to get back into it, right? They're trying to get them back.
Can you think of any team that might be willing to trade a center and might have draft picks? Any team at all? Any teams come to mind? Pretzels, what do you think?
Pretzels.
I'm not glad anymore.
Yeah. You're not talking Sacramento, right?
Oh, well, that's one.
No.
I mean, okay, yeah. I was just since we're playing,
Yeah. So they want a
Domas and
center.
filler.
Yeah, right. How about give him Domas and draft picks for Kevin Durant? Click. I'm hanging up on that. No thanks. I did see somebody post it, since we're talking Kevin Durant, if you will, a potential Spurs Kevin Durant trade. And tell me, if you're Phoenix, would you do this? Devin Vassell, Sohan, Barnes, in the number 14 overall pick.
I would want a little more draft capital, but I'm interested.
How about this?
On the Suns, right?
Yeah. This one from the Suns.
Yeah.
Just another one that might be a little better. Hold on here. Vassell, Sohan, Keldon Johnson in the 14th pick.
Maybe, but I know that they don't really think much of those guys. Vassell I like a lot. We all like a lot, right?
Yeah.
Sohan, I don't know. I mean, I do get younger. I would if I'm the Suns, you're not giving me a center and you're not giving me the draft picks I want. So I'm gonna talk to the Hawks.
Who's more desperate though? Probably Phoenix though, right?
I don't know if there's 4 to 6 teams interested. If that's true, then it, depending on how interested those teams are, maybe they're not overly desperate.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but somebody here, would you trade for Durant from the 530? From the 530? Why weren't the Kings interested in Durant with Fox, but now the Spurs are? Because I don't know. Maybe the Kings would have been interested in Durant, but he didn't want to come here. I don't know. But Durant is seen as a piece that could put Spurs, some of these other teams like
over the
maybe
top.
Right there.
Yeah. Kings, what would Kevin Durant couldn't drag Phoenix with Devin Booker to the playoffs. He comes here with us. He probably would not make it the playoffs. So I'm out on Kevin Durant. If this was 5-6 years ago, sign me up. But what is he, 38, I think, something like that? I'm going to take a pass on
I love Kevin Durant, but yes, again, that milk, that expiration date.
Yeah, 36 years old. He'll be 37 in September.
Question I have about Kevin Durant, you mentioned the Spurs. What option would he be in San Antonio? I think he would probably be potentially second, if not third option, because we all know Victor's number 1, and then where do you go from there?
Probably 1 and 1A.
Yeah, 1 and 1A. Who else would be an option?
They're going Stephon Castle and De'Aaron.
Well, first of all, Castle isn't ready to be a number 2 option. Third of all, De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Durant, nah.
Oh, trust me, I understand where you're coming from. I'm just putting it out there in their thought process what the Spurs would be wanting to do, attempting to get a Kevin Durant.
If you give up as much as they'd have to give up to get Kevin Durant, it's like, you're Kevin Durant. Do what you do.
If I'm a team, I'm not bailing Phoenix out. I'm not emptying draft capital at this stage for Kevin Durant. If I'm San Antonio, I'm not doing it.
I wouldn't either.
Why not just let it build? You got the number 2 pick. You got the number 14 pick. Why trade any of that away for 1 or 2 years of Kevin Durant? It doesn't make sense to me.
Especially because even San Antonio, they weren't even close last year. And I can understand why they feel they are close, but it's not like they won 55 games last year and can say, we get KD and we're in.
What about patience too? Patience, as Eddie Johnson said.
And this is going to be Kevin Durant's year 37. He'll be 37 in September. So this will be his year 37 season as well.
And unfortunately, he too often of late has been a patient.
Yeah. I like that. Bing, bing, boom, bang.
Biggest obstacle to Indy pulling off a major upset, Drapes. What do you think here? OKC led the league in fouls committed this year.
Fouls committed?
They did.
Okay.
They play a very physical brand of basketball. They're an excellent defensive team. We've seen the way the officials are officiating the postseason. They're letting guys get away with murder. That probably favors OKC. If they allow them to play that way, I think that's going to go a long ways towards slowing down Indy. And then also in 2 games against the Pacers, Shea averaged 39 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. He shot 56% from the floor, made 7 of 11 threes. So you got to slow down Shea, but I think the bigger issue for them is dealing with OKC stifling and very physical defense in an environment in which the officials allow you to punch your opponent in the throat.
Got something back at you, though, Whitey.
All right.
And I hear you. Who's committed the most fouls in the postseason per game?
Let me see.
Any guesses?
Is it the Indiana Pacers?
Indiana Pacers. They've been committing more fouls than anybody. Than Detroit, Orlando, OKC. So I think the physical style goes both ways. Can OKC handle the Pacers' physical style?
It's two different kinds of physicality, and it's legit. What you said is a great point, but the Pacers trap you. They put that pressure, that withering pressure on the ball. You know, that's what OKC has to deal with.
And you saying OKC actually
they're a little more
physically grabbing, holding, and things like that.
Yeah, foul's a foul. You're right, and holding is holding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's a great point.
No, I think really what this series is going to come down to. Let's say Lou Dort's on Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam's. It's going to be imperative on the others, the Pascals, the Nimhards, the Neesmith, Toppin, those guys. I feel like Shea's supporting cast is better than Tyrese Halliburton's. So even if you're physical with Shea, you still got J-Dub, still got Chet Holmgren, Caruso, Hartenstein. I feel like OKC has, more arms, in their bullpen, if you will, a deeper starting rotation, if you will, than the Pacers.
That's impressive too, because Indiana's deep, but the Thunder are deeper.
Right. But the quality of the depth, there's such thing as the quality of the depth. My boy might be a key. Ben Mathurin. That's my guy. That's a guy I would trade for right now, Whitey, if I'm the Sacramento Kings.
You also like Obi Toppin a lot. You
love Obi Toppin. Oh, my God.
Give me Obi Toppin in a heartbeat.
Obi Toppin hitting a 3-ball, plays above the rim, gets out and run. Give me Obi Toppin. But no, if you're the Pacers, Mathurin, Nimhart, the others outside of Tyrese and Pascal going to have to step up.
Our finals preview continues.
There's our boy, Cason Wallace.
Yeah, he's ready to go tonight.
Yeah.
Also, we'll look at the Tibs deal. Did Tibs lose his job over the Knicks Game 1 collapse? Tell you who would have us believe that next. Sacktown Sports.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Low Cash, Vincent Mason, and Abriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra. Tickets are available now at CITPFest.com.
People are coming from all over to Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, from Folsom, Elk Grove, Woodland, Roseville, because they've seen for themselves the huge selection and the best prices at SacSuperstore.com. Good luck finding a lower price anywhere else. And if you do, they'll match it. It's as simple as that. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where a handshake still means something. Open until 10 o'clock and centrally located right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. And online at SacSuperstore.com. The guaranteed lowest price and the best selection of Dodge, Chrysler, Jeeps, and Rams. SacSuperstore.com.
It's barely been talked about, and I understand that, but just a couple years ago, it would have been a huge story, would it not? Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers. I think as recently as 2 years ago, I think that would have been a huge story, Drapes.
Yeah, but, one, because Aaron Rodgers getting up there long in the tooth, and two, we knew it was coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been talked about for the last 2 months. Everybody knew it, and so it's like, ho-hum, And because he struggled so much in terms of win-loss with the Jets, it's like, does it really move the needle?
Yeah, I think people
Steelers?
have lost their fascination with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, tired of him.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to understand, too, there's a lot going on in the country today, Whitey.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other things happening in the country. You got the NBA Finals.
What more important than Aaron Rodgers going to the Steelers?
You got some social media stuff, regarding the president and the owner of Tesla. And so I think people are distracted from Aaron Rodgers. Maybe it was a news dump by the Steelers today.
Maybe it was. The best theory, or to me, the theory that makes most sense on why Aaron Rodgers took so long to sign is because he was intending all along to sign with the Steelers. I know the public comments from the Steelers were, we think he's coming. And why did he wait till now? The theory is that he didn't want to go to any of those voluntary OTAs. And he knows that if he signs with the Steelers and doesn't go to a voluntary this or that, it's a big story. This way it could be a story because he's going to the mandatory
next week, right?
Yeah,
I think it is.
He's going to that, but he didn't want to sign and then have everyone, why is he going to the voluntary OTA?
Right.
So, I mean, if that is why he didn't do it, that's actually smart.
It's smart and it's selfish, too. Because if you sign, go to the voluntary OTAs.
They're voluntary, and I'm Aaron Rodgers.
You're the leader of the team, hopefully. It's
I have spaceships to see.
How about this, Whitey?
And darkness retreats to take care of.
You go to a different radio station.
Uh-huh.
Your favorite market.
Yeah.
One at the top of the top. They say,
this station.
Whitey, you can start Monday or you can start Thursday. What are you going to do? I'll wait till Thursday. No, you want to make a good first impression. I'll be there Friday. How about that? The week beforehand.
What would you do?
I'd show up Monday and then say, hey, I need Tuesday, Wednesday off to get my affairs in order, if you will. So, yeah, but it's Aaron Rodgers. He calls his shots. And so the way you're making it sound is like it was so noble of him not to be a distraction, not to,
I don't mean it that way.
All right.
I just mean I get it. That's kind of smart.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's a little selfish, but yes, if that's the case, he wasn't going to come to, voluntary OTAs. Don't want to make a distraction, make it a farce out there.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin having to answer questions and everything like that. No, let's just wait till. So they probably knew this all along.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers from Chico, he grew up. He's a big listener to this station.
Get out of here.
Oh, yes.
All right. So
yes,
you could be home listening right now.
That is hashtag confirmed.
Confirmed.
Yes.
He might be on the YouTube chat right now, you think?
I'm not saying that.
All right.
But there was a time. Found out a little more here, as everyone did who read the Ramona Shelburne story about your guy Tibs. What happened? People are still wondering, how is Tibs out? Here's what she wrote today, among other things. You can read the whole story, ESPN.com. She says the players had not tuned out Thibodeau, one source told ESPN, but there was doubt that he could lead them to the finals after the way the Knicks lost to the Pacers. A source, league source, familiar with the situation, quote, he got out-coached. The game one collapse was insane. If they don't have that collapse, who knows what happens, end quote.
Wow. And that's Ramona Shelburne reporting that, who I trust. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So game one basically did it. That was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah. There was the absence of Cat in the fourth quarter of game two while the Knicks were struggling. There was the slow to make lineup change in game three with Mitchell Robinson into the starting lineup, Hart to the bench. And then after New York rallied to win game three in Indiana, Hart confirmed he had suggested the lineup change to the coaching staff late during the Boston series. So, again, I'm not trying to say they should have fired him or shouldn't have fired him, but it looks like these are the reasons why.
Right.
And I was assuming they really liked Coach Bryant.
Yeah, Johnny Bryant.
But we'll see. I mean, maybe they bring him in, maybe they don't. But it sounds like there was a lot more to it than that, than just, oh, well, he's available, so we got to get him.
Did you see the report also about Jalen Brunson's dad, Rick Brunson.
I heard something about that. Yeah, what's going on
That
there?
some of the organization thought Rick Brunson wielded too much power. According to the article I read, somebody said, quote, he's the most powerful man in the building. Like, he has the ear of all the higher ups, if you will. And some players were had an issue with that too.
Mm-hmm.
And so seemed like it was a mess behind the scenes.
Do you remember Kyle Ledbetter was talking about this yesterday off the air? Remember when at some point DiVincenzo, when they were playing against the Knicks, he was screaming at their bench?
But him and Brunson's dad got into it.
But wasn't he saying something about that's what happens when you let somebody run something? Or
really? Is that what it was? I don't know. Let me see. Let me look it up here. DiVincenzo, Rick Brunson. Rick Brunson, my guy from Temple University.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had some, I forget what it was, but yeah, they definitely had some form of beef.
Yeah, they had some beef. Yeah, I don't see. First of all, he's a family man. I don't know. I don't know.
I'll have to do some more research on that. I don't know that whoever you bring in is going to be impactful enough to take that Knicks team to the East Championship next year. If that's what they're thinking, it's like, we just need a better coach.
Right.
I mean, it's easy to fall into that trap. I don't think that's it, Drapes.
You don't think so? You don't think so?
I mean,
no, because here's the thing with Tibs. And, if you want to fire him. Okay, that's your decision. But you can't fire him for winning and lose. Like, he went farther than any coach in the last 25 years for the Knicks had gone.
And that's supposed to be the whole idea.
Right. And the thing about it, they built a roster to compete with the Celtics. Mission accomplished. They beat Boston. And so, to me, it had more to do with some of the other stuff instead of the loss to Indiana. And here's the thing. Let's say he was outcoached by Rick Carlisle.
Which I think we can agree was.
That happens all the dude, Greg Popovich has been outcoached. Spoelstra's been outcoached. Mike Brown's been outcoached. Rick Carlisle's been. You're not going to win every coaching matchup.
Right. But the manner in which he was outcoached in the eyes of many underlined some of Tibbs' flaws. Playing guys too many minutes. Failure to make adjustments. There were concerns, according to this story, about how much he was relying on Brunson, and he rode Brunson. And some people said he did the same thing to Derrick Rose when he was in Chicago, and he just rode him too hard.
Yeah.
And teams made some adjustments to how they ran the pick and roll with Brunson. But the Knicks, even as the productivity of that play declined, the Knicks were just stubborn. So it was, again, right or wrong, fair or unfair. He was seen as a guy that just wasn't making the adjustments that were necessary.
Here you go. I did a deep dive on Brunson, Rick Brunson, and Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
According to SI.com here. DiVincenzo barked at the Knicks bench before shooting a free throw. You talk to me. I was talking to Tibbs. You want to bring it out here for the camera? DiVincenzo apparently said, can't finish, right, Tibbs? Thanks for the trade, Tibbs. Can't finish, right? Thanks for the trade initially was misheard. It's can't finish, right? Because he finished.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when Brunson said something from the bench, and DiVincenzo's response, that's what happens when they let you run the show. Let daddy be in charge.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Spicy. Spicy. I will say in a podcast afterwards, Rick Brunson said they're good. DiVincenzo will be at Thanksgiving dinner and everything. But, man.
Really?
Well, right. Who knows now, right? Oh, man, that's spicy. But back to Tibbs, though. And, could it have been that this was just a bad matchup, too? Like certain teams, and I'm not advocating, for Tibbs' job or anything. My thing is, this might not be the right move. You're taking a chance. You're risking. Oh, the finals are underway, matter of fact.
Yes.
Like, this is a guy that took you to within 2 games of the NBA Finals. Now you're bringing in somebody new. Maybe it's a young coach. They better win. Like, don't they have to go farther than Tibbs took them next year?
Yep.
Or the hiring, firing wasn't wasn't good. I mean,
that's one of the things that Pitino said, and we were kidding about it because it's like, I don't think he's a candidate, but he said, no, I wouldn't be interested in that. He said, whoever they bring in, he's got to take him to the finals, or it's a failure.
It's a failure, and it may not even be a failure for the organization, but that fan base now, they're expecting finals or bust. Like that's their mindset right now.
Yeah, I think both things can be true. On the one hand, he was outcoached. On the other hand, it was a bad matchup. And even if he wasn't outcoached, they still probably would have lost.
Right. Exactly. And let's not forget the Pacers' second best team in the league. This was no fluke.
Right.
It wasn't like the Knicks lost it. Give the Pacers some credit. They did a hell of a job.
Once the Knicks beat Boston, they felt ordained by God to make it to the finals.
Right.
And when it didn't happen, somebody had to be blamed for that. Are you ready to take on Ramsey today?
Yeah, I feel like a win. I beat Jay yesterday.
Ramsey's really good at this.
But he cheats, though.
No, I don't. And you remember what happened the last time we played?
You got lucky.
No, I didn't.
Let's go. I'm ready now. I'm ready. I'm locked in.
All right, we'll wrap it up with Whitey's Wayback Machine quiz, and we'll wrap things up next on Sacktown Sports.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, inviting you to come join them every Wednesday for their midweek madness drawing, giving away $2,000 in total cash starting at 6 p.m. It's a safe and friendly environment, plenty of well-lit parking available, and it's conveniently located right there in downtown Sacramento. And remember, best food, best service, best games, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9861. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9861. That's 800-575-9861. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
If there's one thing we know about dads, it's that they're not easy to shop for. Enter Kohl's. They've got everything from Nike golf gear to his favorite Levi's jeans. And you can save 20% on other finds like Flex Athleisure and Izod workwear. So if you're not sure what to get dad for Father's Day, you know where to go. Shop Kohl's now. Select styles. Offer ends June 15th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons do not apply to Nike and Levi's. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
We head down the home stretch here. The Drive Guys Golf to Go coming up. Time for Kyle Draper's golf game update.
Did not play today, but probably hit some balls tomorrow. Probably play this weekend a couple of times as I get ready.
Work on your putting or anything?
Nah, my putting's A1, big fella.
Really?
A1. Come on, man. Speed, line, I got that all taken care of. Not worried about that.
What's the issue then? Straight off the tee? Irons? Oh, that's
it's in between the eyes, big fella, in between the ears.
Mm-hmm.
It's all mental with Drapes, man. It's all mental with me. I don't know, somehow relax when I'm out there or something.
Mm-hmm.
Clear my mind. I'm thinking of 80 different things, man. You know me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never where I'm supposed to be. I'm never where I'm at. I'm always somewhere else.
You should try some meditation. but you'll come around here one day.
All right, one day. I'll do it one day.
Yeah. Meditate on this. It's time for Whitey's Wayback Machine quiz for June the 5th. And it's Kyle Draper against Ramsey.
About to say, man, where the music at, Ramsey?
Ramsey.
He's shook already.
Ramsey has, I was just, checking the analytics. He's got a very glittering one-loss record. Ramsey has a very, very impressive resume when it comes to Whitey's Wayback Machine quiz.
You know who Ramsey's this year's Cleveland Cavaliers. All regular season, and when the bright lights are on against me, he folds like a cheap suit.
I'll just remind you the last time we played.
Let's go. I'm ready.
I took the dub. Not saying it's going to happen today, but let's go.
I'm ready.
So can I start with Ramsey then? Any protests there?
I'm the reigning champ. I beat Jay yesterday.
Oh, you did beat Jay?
Yeah.
All right, so you are the reigning champ.
Yes.
Okay. I thought Jay won yesterday.
Nah, I beat
so you're
Jay
the reigning
yesterday.
champ, yes. Fair and square. Here's what we have for you, Drace. We have this date, what year? It's in baseball, by the way. 1977, 1991, 1996, 2001, and 2006.
77, Bill Walton.
1977, it's the closest too.
Ramsey, go first.
All right, Ramsey. This date, 1977, yes, Portland defeats the Sixers 109-107 to win the NBA title in 6 games. How many shots did Bill Walton block in Game 6, setting a finals record that has been tied but never broken? Bill Walton, this date, Portland over the Sixers, the NBA title, sets a finals record for blocks in a game. It's been tied but never broken, without many.
I'm going to go 8.
8 is correct.
Damn, I was like, this dude getting lucky. Oh, my God. Oh.
8 is exactly right.
Educated guess. Educated guess.
Did a lot, dude. I'm taking you to Vegas with me next time we go, man. This guy getting lucky already.
Yeah, for those of you keeping score at home, I could see him the whole time. He didn't look anything up.
He went with his girlfriend. She in his ear or something like that.
Ramsey, you're up 1-0, and you're up next with the steal there. This date, what year in baseball? 1991, 96, 2001, and 2006.
This year in baseball.
This date, what year in baseball? You know how these work, right? You get to hear it, then you can decide if you want to go first or want Travis to go first.
Correct.
This day, what year in baseball? The A's Pat Venditti becomes the first pitcher in the 21st century to throw right-handed and left-handed in the same game. This day, what year?
I'm going to let Draper go first.
What do you think, Drapes?
Can you hear it again?
Yes. The A's Pat Venditti becomes the first pitcher in the 21st century to throw right-handed and left-handed in the same game.
Wow. In the 21st century?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are we doing it that way? Oh, never mind. Because it happened this date.
Yes,
right.
yes.
2002.
2002? What do you think there, Ramsey?
2003.
It's 2015.
Really?
Yeah.
It took that long of the
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the year, but I knew it was in the 2010s.
Really? I didn't. Yeah.
There's a hilarious video of him when he started pitching in the minors against a switch hitter, and he'd start left-handed, and the batter would be right-handed. Then he'd switch hands. Then the batter would switch batter's boxes, and they just kept going back and forth. And the umpire says, "No, hold on." Anyway,
and he had a singular glove that he would switch hands.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ramsey has that 2-0 lead, and we go back to Kyle Draper.
All right.
1991, 1996, 2001, and 2006. Right?
2006.
2006. It's the closest too.
Ramsey can go first.
All right, Ramsey.
He gonna get it right.
This day, 2006, Jason Schmidt matches a 102-year-old Giants record by striking out how many hitters in a 2-1 win over the Marlins? Jason Schmidt, 2006 this date, matching a 102-year-old Giants record by striking out how many hitters in a 2-1 win over the Fish?
I believe.
Ooh, he sounds like he might.
I know. It's like just guess the
I
damn
believe
number.
it was 17.
17 over to Kyle Draper.
Ooh, that's not right.
It's not correct.
18.
16.
Oh my God.
That was my first guess. I was going to go 16, but then something in my head told me 17.
Damn, that's 3-0. He's killing me. I'm not locked in.
It's 3-0. You still got time, but you're running out of wiggle room. Only 3 points left on the board.
This is the luckiest guy I know, man. This guy's getting lucky.
So, Ramsey, you got triple match point here. Where do you want to start? 91, 96, or 2001?
You said 91, 96, or 2001?
Yes, sir.
I'll go 96, please.
1996. It is a closest to. You want to go first? You want
I'll let Drapes go first.
Okay. Right, Drapes. 1996 this state, the Bulls take game 1 of the finals from Seattle.
Yeah.
The two teams had more combined regular season wins than any other two finalists in NBA history. With how many? Bulls, Seattle, 1996, regular season, combined wins. It was the most ever for any teams playing on the finals. Right. How many? 1996.
I got to make sure I do the math.
Kings fans know that 1996 Seattle team all too well. If Mitch Richmond hadn't turned his ankle, who knows what would have happened?
141.
141. Over to Ramsey.
140.
Who's 72 and 64, 136. 136.
I gave Seattle way too many.
Yeah, and that means Ramsey has won it today.
I thought Seattle won like 68 or something.
Yeah.
Good job, Ramsey.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And he's wearing
what?
Yeah, what's that?
I need to tap out of the show. I can't even be a part of the show for the next 6 minutes. I'm thoroughly embarrassed, fellas.
You're embarrassed?
I'm embarrassed. This was a 4-0 sweep.
Uh-huh.
This was the biggest up. This was Lakers Pistons, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but look at what the A's did. The A's had lost, 20 and 21,
A's had lost 20 and 21.
They lost 20 and 21. What do? They come out today and they win 14-3.
A broken clock is right twice a day, Ramsey. Congratulations.
Okay.
Congratulations. Don't be going home bragging about it.
I never said I would, but but I mean the one that I almost thought I nailed on the head, which wasn't the Bill Walton, was the Jason Schmidt, because I remember, especially watching the Giants, he would deal and would have a lot of double-digit strikeout games.
Mm-hmm. Do you want the last two,
Yeah,
Ramsey,
sure,
to see if you can?
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to play two, Drapes?
Nah, I'm sitting as well.
All right.
Go ahead,
Okay.
give it
We'll
to
just see if
Rams.
Ramsey can run the table.
I'm embarrassed.
1991, Ramsey. What Chicago Bull went 8 for 8 in a Game 2 finals win over the Lakers? This day, 1991. 8 for 8. John Paxson, Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright.
I'm going to go with Oak Ridge finest, Bill Cartwright.
I'm sorry, it was actually John Paxson.
That's what that was my second. That was my second guess.
And now he wants to get one wrong. Okay.
And in 2001, Barry Bonds became the fastest to hit 30 homers in a season, doing so in the Giants' 57th game. Who held the previous mark of 63 games, 30 homers in 63 games? Hank Aaron, Mark McGwire, or Babe Ruth?
I want to say Mark McGwire.
Are you saying Mark McGwire?
Yeah, Mark McGwire.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth is right.
Okay.
Oh, now I want to get one right.
See that?
Oh, this is embarrassing. Ramsey.
Because I know Mark McGwire. I forget what the pace was with Mark McGwire in 98, but it was torrid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Ramsey.
Thank you, sir.
Ramsey.
All right, cut off the mic now, bro. What we got here, Whitey? We watching this game here. Pacers, Thunder.
Mm-hmm. I know that Thunder got off to a big lead, but Indiana on their way back.
My boy Rick Carlisle and them only down by 2. 5:05 left to go.
What does your employer need from this series? What does the NBA need? 7 games? Close games? Buzzer beaters?
So here's the thing. My employer, Sacramento Kings, by way of the NBA, we need 2 different things. The Sacramento Kings and me, we need this series over as quick as possible so we can get down to off-season business, making moves. You know what I mean? I need this series to be over so we can get to the draft, free agency. I think if I'm Adam Silver, I need at least 6. Because anything short, then it's like, see, these small market teams, no superstars, terrible matchup. Like, you need the basketball to live up to the billing of us basketball people. So, you need some exciting games here.
And the other thing you need, or at least the Kings need, is they need Oklahoma City to win, right? If we're being honest.
Yeah, because if Tyrese wins, and we will never hear the end of it. Because they'll look back, how we did the deep dive on how the Thunder were accumulated and everything. They will point back to that trade, Tyrese Halliburton, the key piece that helped get the Pacers to the championship, winning the title.
I worry sometimes when I look at these two teams playing, I worry about how the Kings can get from where they are right now to where those teams are on the similar track. And I know it's not easy, but building through the draft, young team, finding those legitimate guard superstars. And as Miles Turner said, that's kind of how it's done now. That's the blueprint. If that's true, I worry about how the Kings can start to follow that blueprint because they're really not anywhere near it right now.
They're not near it, but they do have a first-round pick next season, Whitey. It's all about hitting the pick. It's not about getting the number 1 pick, maybe top 5. Okay, you look at but Tyrese is number 12.
Right.
You know what I mean? Shay's number 11.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's all about getting whatever picks you have correct if you're Sacramento. And so not this season. You don't have a first-round pick. But who knows? Next season, you got a first-rounder. Hit on your pick, Sacramento.
They do have a lot of their picks coming up. That's one good thing. Thank you, Monty. Monty will never get the credit he deserves for that. It'll be the things that didn't go well, but they're in good position draft-wise.
Hey, it was touch and go there for a minute, but now that we conveyed that pick to Atlanta, now things have opened up for us.
Thanks for being with us. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the game if that's how you choose to enjoy your game. We're back with you tomorrow, and stick around because Golf to Go is next right here on Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies